Welcome to the amazing world of Elmore,
a Sal Left Thumb podcast. So I'm just going to record, so we're recording.
Well, that's fine, because I had another thing I wanted to talk about that I thought would be pretty good intro material. So I've been on, I guess first thing I should say is that I've finally got a TikTok now. And, I had some anti-TikTok hate instilled into me from the nasty shit that I was into at the time.
Oh, yeah.
That I didn't realize was bad. I finally got one because I've been wanting to try it. And now I'm finally, on a platform that's got people like me talking on it. And, getting neurodivergent people, and they're talking about, oh, hey, ADHD talk, or, autism talk, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I can follow those. I learned about echolalia, which is, I think it's an autism trait. Basically, when a person repeats things that they've heard in, from other people say it, or movies, TV show, media, whatever. They just repeat stuff. And so I was wondering if our skits were some weird form of echolalia, where we're just mimicking each other back and forth to one another, and then playing this big game with it. And that cracked me up because it was we've never had an explanation for what the fuck that is that we do. But, I've always appreciated it, but I kind of wanted to know why. And I kind of felt like I maybe got a little bit of insight into that.
Yeah, that would make sense. But yeah, I wanted to say that that's where my ADHD kicks in, because I can see both these things on screen, and I'm just
you just right back and forth, back and forth.
I always do that. I'm so efficient when I have a lot of shit on screen.
I gotta have more than one thing running on my computer at all times. That's why I love having dual monitors, because it's that's so great, because I can finally do all 8 of my tasks at once.
Yeah, I know. I even want triple monitors now. Honestly.
I do. Honestly, I want a third monitor.
I would love a third monitor.
I think it would be so good. There's so many situations in which I would like to have it.
Yeah, I remember
Here's one. Getting high. Playing Risk of Rain 2 or whatever we do. Having us on webcam on one screen and a YouTube video on the other.
That's stimulation.
And you've just got it's the sludge. It's sludge content on TikTok for your desktop.
Yeah, that's great. There's definitely got to be YouTube videos of people just scrolling through their TikTok feeds, right? For people who can't watch TikTok,
Yeah.
Do you think that exists?
Yeah, that probably does exist.
They upload videos every day, and people are I gotta watch the guy's TikToks today.
I do think YouTube Shorts has an autoplay feature if you wanted to do YouTube Shorts.
Even any good, or are they just
Well, that was how I engaged with TikTok-esque media for a while before I got TikTok. So I'm a bit more familiar with that scene. And it's usually just re-uploaded content, basically compilation shit, memes I found on Discord or whatever, slapstick kind of humor, or pretty unique stuff, basically an advertisement for a YouTube channel. So they'll give you a brief piece of one of their other YouTube videos to get you interested. And be hey, if you liked that, full video in the description. And, I don't remember why I was talking about YouTube Shorts.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't even understand some of the words that you said.
Don't worry. I'm sure you'll understand them more sober. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
I don't think we've said hi to you yet.
No, we haven't introduced who we are or done any of that yet. Welcome
if you can't tell, we're in the exact place we need to be for this podcast.
Yeah, this is, I think, exactly what we envisioned when we started this. This was the environment we wanted.
I have been waiting to do this again for so long.
I know, it's been a while. For us,
stopped.
At least.
Yeah, we stopped because, we just needed the extra time. And it
Yeah.
wasn't... I'd like to think that it wasn't, like, a burnout thing yet.
No, not at all. I still have a desire to do it.
Yeah. Like, which obviously it shouldn't be. We haven't been at it for that long.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess I'm looking for a confirmation that, like, I still wanted to do this, but I was putting it on hold for, like, responsible reasons. Not, I just, like, don't have the mental energy to even deal with that anymore.
No,
it's
I
not
completely
stressful
understand.
to do. I've been looking forward to it the whole time.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's kind of where I was at too. Because we moved to Sundays, as you know, because we just didn't have the spoons to do it through the week. We had good intentions with it.
Yeah.
But realistically, just having the weekend just gives us a lot more time.
The nice thing is, it's a very learning moment kind of thing. It's not just us, like, being bad or, just, like, being up against a wall or something. It's genuinely just we didn't know what was the correct, like, time to place this little thing we do in our schedule.
Yeah, we're not an experienced podcasters.
This is the first time either of us has ever really seriously created anything, right? Like online media.
There's a lot. I have like a theater company that is like.
No, right. Of
I
course,
guess we're talking about
don't
media.
mean to...
No, that was stupid. Media, media.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, so we're not making like fully original content.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I'm just high.
Yeah, and we haven't done that before, so we're just like we're brand new at it. We're babies basically. Yeah. But
this is I think the biggest project I've ever committed to.
This is the biggest thing I've ever committed to. As well. And of course we're doing it for the fucking blue cat.
We're doing it for the blue cat, the orange fish,
and the orange fish. We can't forget about the fish. The fish is an equal like part of this fucking cult that we're a part of.
So Sundays at 5 is going to be, I think, the current time for now. We're hoping to keep it once a week because we enjoy doing this. We don't want to.
Yeah, it's just it's just a matter of whether or not the capitalist world allows it to be every week. It's just we have obligations we have to attend to because we live under capitalism.
Yeah,
and we don't have a choice but to have those responsibilities, and so it's a matter of whether or not we can fit the thing we actually care to do into our time.
If we can even do anything else, we could probably do more than like one episode a week.
Honestly, we could probably do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule.
Yeah.
If we were like in a communist society, this could literally just be our work. The world's not ready for that, apparently. So that's just going to be a sad little distant part of the far-off future for now. And in the present, we have Gumball. Yeah,
which, it ties in there somewhere.
Yeah. I think it's just saying that Gumball's our escapism.
Gumball's escapism, and it's the best I've ever had.
Yeah. It's like this is like therapy now.
Yeah, honestly, it's great. But yeah, we're a little zoinked, so we're gonna do our best not to fuck around too much.
But you know what?
But this is probably gonna be a little long, like last time.
Honestly, I think you have to accept that our brand is like stonercore.
Yeah.
And so we should like appeal to stoners basically because we're doing this high. This is a high project in its creation. It's gonna be high. It's gonna be a high project in like its release too. You know? The people who have interest in it are going to be like us.
This is going to be a very as analytical as we can get, but this is not going to be some hoity-toity academic project that we're doing for scholarship.
We're not making like peer reviewable content.
No, we just want to talk about something that we dearly love and just sort of everything that kind of encompasses it, and
basically just like desperately needing to get our voices out there.
Yeah, that's
how it always feels. Mm-hmm. You know, I've always wanted to have a space where I can talk. I can be the one speaking.
Yeah,
and I just never felt like I had anything to do that for.
Absolutely.
But I'm interested in doing that with our subject today.
Yes, so let's get to it. I think that's it. Nothing else, right? We don't have any other.
Well, we have our. We're switching from this to history. Is that like a new section?
So anyway, let's introduce the episode.
So yeah, we are talking about
the quest.
Woo!
Yay.
I like the quest.
The quest is it's pretty cute.
I genuinely like it. You know, I really appreciate that Tina kind of fits into our role of first character
Tina.
to have like a character arc. And that's kind of what I really love about her, is that she's the progenitor to all the awesome-ass character arcs we get later on. Like, this is the first time they do one, and it's already pretty great.
Yeah.
But I have some history to start us
off.
Go for it. Premiered... I'm always trying to give us our premiere date.
Please.
These 2 episodes premiered May 30th of 2011. So, of course, obviously, we're still very, very early on. Mm-hmm. You know, we're not, like, in Hellenistic Gumball yet.
No, we're still...
We're in, like, geometric.
Yeah, we're still kind of getting there.
Yeah, but
we're getting elements of that today.
It's really starting to show, like, this would be an interesting piece to talk about, like, how the show showed its potential very early on.
It reminds me of something I wanted to bring up, but I gotta remember the guy's name. So last week, when we talked about the dress...
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Should also say that, I don't know. I lost it.
So anyway.
The poll. We've yet to talk about the Cartoon Network poll again.
I know, we keep forgetting about that.
There's been so many updates, so we just did not update you guys on that. I'm so sorry. We were not
so
keeping
disorganized. We're just so going with the absolute whim. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the dress because I had a theory. So we talked about last week how weird that episode was, how out of character it was. No one really seems to like it. We can all kind of agree on that.
Yeah.
And the writers for that episode were Ben Bocalay, Mick Graves, and David Kaji Newby. Now, I looked up that man's name, and I did not see his name attached to any other Gumball episodes. This was the only one he was a credited writer on. And he didn't even have much of a career. He doesn't really have any credited project. He's nobody, like, important, if you will. So, I think whoever this guy was, he came in and I think maybe he might have, I don't know, tweaked it a little bit or did something that maybe, not to maybe excuse what Ben and Mick, maybe what they just decided to do. If they did it, then, fault is on them, I guess. But, that's just a thought. I don't know. And then maybe that's why they didn't bring him back. Yeah. Because they were like, we didn't like this guy.
My contribution to this little conspiracy theory is that it sounds to me like this person was a Nepo baby. Like, this was a person that has connections to the people who make decisions on this show. Because, unfortunately, because we live in a capitalist society, the creator of the show is not the biggest influence. It's not like the final say. The company is. And so my theory is that this person is like maybe related to or friends with someone
from Cartoon Network.
Someone from Cartoon Network, and they, for some reason, were put on this. Whether maybe because it was like a little hobby they had and they just wanted to try it, or they're like a terrible writer but they think they're a good writer, or maybe something else where it's just like they needed to have something on their like resume. I think there's plenty of different explanations for it, but I think it's basically nepotism that put this person in here, because this episode feels like the successor. Like, the dress almost feels like the successor of a Butch Hartman show.
Yeah. It does, yeah.
Yeah, and nothing else in this show is like that. Like, this show does not feel inspired by Butch Hartman's, like, comedy stylings
thank God.
all.
Can you imagine?
But the dress, in a lot of ways, does, to me, feel very Butch Hartman-esque. And it feels like the creative voice of that episode was not our normal people and was definitely someone who just, like, did not understand what this show was.
Yeah, this was the only cartoon he ever even worked on.
Yes, I think that's
and
what
after
it is.
this, he wrote children's books. So I don't know how good they are. We didn't read them. If anybody wants us to, we absolutely will.
See, there you go. The children's books. So this person wanted to be a writer, and they needed like a writing thing for their resume or something. So daddy got him a gig.
Yeah,
at
maybe.
Cartoon Network.
That's a possibility.
That's
the theory. But yeah, he worked on other stuff, but like nothing. Like it's just all like a little minor shit. Nothing nearly as big as Gumball.
But
and it's the only cartoon he ever worked on, so it's very strange, and that's my theory. I don't know if it's true. If anybody can prove me right or wrong, please.
Guy, I know you're listening. We're gonna get to your comments about not agreeing with us on the quality of the dress. Don't you worry. We'll get to that. But first, before we get into our listener comments, I have our debut characters for these 2 episodes. Not a whole lot of them anymore. We have Mr. Rex, Tina's dad, shows up for the first time. And we get Felix of Colin and Felix fame. Yeah. The Eggheads. We get the other one. The other one is now officially
we saw the other one last week, right?
Yeah, I don't remember if this is... I think this is, I guess, I wanted to say braces, but I think it's more like retainer.
Oh, yeah.
One of them has, like, a retainer, the other has, like, glasses.
Yeah.
One of them is one of them is the other. I can't remember which one this one is.
Do they ever get an episode?
Yeah, they do.
I think they do, right?
Yeah, they do.
I don't know.
It's a weird episode. It's the weird side of season 3, I think, or maybe season 2.
Oh yeah.
But we'll get to it eventually. We'll get to it like 2 years from now.
Yeah. Oh God. I hope we're moving at a faster pace than that.
Yeah.
That's only like a season away, probably.
Well, yeah. My idea of time may be very warped, severely warped.
But let me briefly mention before we get to that. The writers
and also
storyboarders.
Sal Left Thumb.
Oh yeah,
was introduced as well.
We love Sal.
We can't ignore Sal.
No, and I'll mention the voice actors when we actually get to them in the episode. But the quest was
That's a good way of doing it.
Yeah, I think that is a good idea. The quest was written by Ben Beausoleil, John Foster, and James Lamont. So the typical 3 that we are pretty much going to see for the rest of the show. Their names are pretty much attached to, I think, pretty much almost every episode. We see a bunch of other people come and go, but these 3 are always at the center of it.
That is like it almost kind of feels that way. Like, I'm wondering, well, it's weird because this Raiders room, to me, almost feels like an atom. This is our nuclear core. Yeah. And then all the other Raiders are like electrons. And some of them are closer to the center. Some of them are farther away. But you need them all to make the full product.
Yeah. It is storyboarded by Ariel Charbonnier and Chuck Klein.
Yeah, the storyboarding is important too. I was wondering about our next episode.
Oh, we didn't talk about the poll. Do you want to do that real quick before we go any further?
Do you think it is worth putting into the podcast?
I think we should. No? I think we should briefly mention that.
Sure.
And one other brief thing that I don't think you know.
Yeah, I mean, if it's important to you, it's important to the podcast.
Okay, so
you go for it.
When we start, this was way back in episode 0. We talked about the poll that was going on the Cartoon Network Instagram.
It's not all the way really back anything in episode 0, and we still haven't talked about it. Yeah. I thought about that.
I think about that every time.
I've listened to our episodes. Like, they're a comfort to me now. I'll listen to them at work or whatever, and I've heard us talk about this poll like 2 or 3 times.
And we're like, we'll get to it.
And I always think about like how, oh fuck, we need to remember that this week. And then we never did. It's so funny.
It's great.
I had a great relationship with it. Let's kill it.
But yeah, it ultimately came down to Adventure Time versus Gumball.
Yeah, and, so that's a lot of rounds condensed down. Yeah. I was so...
It beat Courage, which I was sad for Courage,
was so fucking negative about Gumball's chances.
I know, so was I.
I was so confident, and I even got conspiratorial for some reason, and was like, it was put in there intentionally to lose. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, I listen back to it, and I'm like, why did I say that?
Yeah.
Because now it got second place.
And Gumball is big. It's just not a very vocal community.
I guess so. You know? I guess we just weren't a part of this community.
Yeah.
Well, this is our
this is our siren.
This is our like pie that like we knocked on your door and it's like, hey, we're your new neighbors. Yeah. We just wanted to give you this. This is our like offering to welcome us into the community.
Yeah. I hope you're enjoying this, whether you're at work maybe. That'd be pretty cool, or if you're just like going for a walk, or
I hope there's people that just listen to this and like the feeling of hanging out with us for a couple hours. That's really what podcasts are for me. That's what makes them special.
I don't like it when they get too
edited-y.
Professional.
Yeah, no, I like an amateur
campfire feel.
a level of like amateurity. I like that it's not I guess it just doesn't feel like a product. Because we've talked about this extensively off camera. But our major philosophy for this podcast is to always be project, not product. We don't want to make this into something that has to be bent and molded into something that can be profited off of. Yes. I don't want to do that. And I think that allows us such amazing creative and artistic liberty that makes me so sad that like Nebula hasn't taken off like crazy wildfire yet.
Yeah.
Have you heard about Nebula?
No. What is it?
Well, I've talked about it before.
Oh, you might have, but I might not remember.
But that's fine. Nebula is a YouTuber owned.
Oh, is this
media,
the you got
a streaming
TV?
Service? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
it's literally just like streaming, like Netflix or whatever. It's an entirely new platform for YouTubers to not have to be on YouTube, and it's a subscription, so it's a much more healthy thing because all the creators are getting paid regardless, right? They're getting money. And so it's a great way to support them, but it's not catching on fire yet. It allows for shit to feel more like project.
Yeah.
I hate when my YouTube content, when my like independent media becomes very like product
tainted.
Yeah, because it's just
capitalism.
Like it's just because it's like a tragedy almost.
Yeah.
Because I look at the creator and I'm like, you clearly have such interesting things to say. I'm so sad that you have to incorporate ads for a fucking VPN just so that you can actually do your art as a job. I guess it's a very like communist feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm very angry that we have to make our art in a capitalist society.
Yeah,
it's like anti-art. Capitalism is like inherently anti-art.
Yeah. No, we've always said if you ever hear us just say stuff like, "Hey guys, thanks for today's sponsor." Boo! We're not going to say it. I'm not gonna say any names. If we do that, you're listening to the wrong show.
if we take sponsors, like we've talked about, if we ever got reached out to by like fucking Adam and Eve or something that's like kind of meme-worthy.
Meme-worthy or something that we actually care about.
Or something we did genuinely care about.
A service or we
would maybe be willing to take that. But I'm not even sure about that because like I would be willing to do that if and only if within our contract we maintain exclusive creative freedom. Mm-hmm. They cannot limit what we say to do the product placement or whatever. Yeah. So, like, if we got a product and they were like, can you do one ad for us, like, for, like, however much one goes for, and we took it, and we were just like, yeah, this thing is fucking dog shit. That's terrible. I can't believe you thought we would like that. I need to be able to say that. And if I don't feel confident that I can say that about a product, I can't take sponsorships on this. Yeah, because at that point, it is no longer a project.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because, like, you know, projects are always publicly funded. They're never privately funded.
You're right. Libraries.
They're always fucking projects when multiple people come together to make it happen.
Yeah, we don't want any corporate greedy stuff. And, you know, I know we're just two fools talking, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also well aware of the fact that our podcast only has like 100 like views in total. I mean, that's great. But that is nowhere near the amount of downloads you need to start, like, making money or anything, or, like, getting deals. So, I guess it's mostly just, it's theory. I don't think it's actually going to happen. It's mostly just, like, I want to talk through this and make sure we're on the same page on this, because that allows you, both the person I'm talking to, Theo, and you, the audience, to understand that, like, I'm coming at this honestly, and that, like, this is what my motivations are.
Yeah.
Like, if I could do that, you know, it's a hypothetical.
Yeah, no, I completely understand, and I am with you, and I don't want to ever let that become a part of this. And we've been rambling on for a little bit now.
This episode's going to be longer than the last one.
Oh, that's going to take so long.
Hey, you know what? we will find what our ideal time is.
Yeah.
We will find what our ideal time limit is later.
Yeah, and if
we don't have to worry about that.
If you
right
want
now.
to skip to the good episode stuff, I guess you're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
But feel free to also just sit around and listen to us.
Yeah, I mean,
goof around.
like I said, I don't want to be exclusionary at all. Mm-hmm. But if you're not interested in the way we're giving out this information, then genuinely, not as an angry response, but just as, I think this might just not be the place for you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be exclusionary, but if you, don't belong or whatever, that's fine. I hate that we can't appeal to just, Gumball fans in general because we're a Gumball podcast.
Yeah.
We feel like we have to be subculture even within the subculture here.
Uh-huh.
But I need that.
Yeah.
That is how I want to make my art. That is what feels most honest to me. And, that's what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need the fame. I don't need the high view counts or the money or whatever. It's
just fun to sit around and just
kind of
talk about Gumball and talk about what we love about it and hear from you guys, and that's the whole point of this thing.
And if this ever becomes a thing where, we do take off and a year from now we've just totally lost the fucking narrative and we've fallen off the deep end and we've just gone for all the money and shit.
Oh.
If even in that worst case nightmare response, I want there to be fucking evidence right now that was not my motivation in the beginning.
Yeah.
If I ever fucking fall to the enemy, know that I was earnest in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, should we get back to the actual quest?
The cartoon that our
get back to
podcast
Gumball.
is named after.
Yay, the quest! So,
are we going to do our listener comments?
Oh yeah, we could do that before. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. So go ahead.
That seems to be something we do before we get into the
actual episode. That's fine.
Sorry guys, if you're only here for the episodes.
You're gonna have to wait another 45 minutes.
Maybe you're in the wrong place.
This is it. These are we both have ADHD. we just kind of talk.
This will at all times be an inherently neurodiverse space. We will never abide by neurotypical rules if we don't want to.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't need to feel like we need to contain ourselves.
But hey, that means that if you're neuro-fucking-divergent, you're our kind of people.
Yeah. We don't want to be like, oh, well, we have to keep it 2 hours because that's how long people typically listen.
We are. I'd like to think that we've become incredibly inclusive people.
I certainly like to hope so.
And I hope every day that I'm doing a good job on that. Because I know I have a negative history of not being good at that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of why I care so much. Yeah. Because I know I've had that. I know I have the power to be a shitty person in me. And so I try very hard not to be. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, if you're the fucking outcasts of society like us, I hope you feel welcome here. Because... what the hell am I doing if I'm not making a space that you guys feel welcome in? Yeah, I had a thought and it just happens. Would you like to go that's the inherent first, or would you like me to read the first? I can do the guy. Okay. I have the guys kind of shortened here. We're getting a lot of comments, and you guys see how long it took us to get here. Yeah. So for the sake of making sure the podcast doesn't get too long, we're gonna start cutting out some of the stuff you guys say. We're gonna do our best to summarize and condense without maybe missing anything too big. That's the reason why I'm so worried about doing that is because I don't want to misrepresent anyone. Yeah. So I do hope if that does end up happening, that you feel welcome to correct me. Yeah. Because I'll take that if I misrepresent you. But I am gonna try and summarize you just so that we don't make this podcast an arduous experience by sharing the exact same level of I guess soapbox for everyone. Yeah. Unfortunately we kind of have to take a step back just for the sake of logistics. Yeah, I hear you. But the guy here or guy, whatever fan favorite guy. Been here every episode. You're basically a co-host. He said that Guy is a good name. to refer to him as, we were like, hey, do you want to give us a different name? But there's no need to apologize. We were like, oh, it's so boring or whatever. That wasn't necessarily a criticism. It was just like, hey, if you wanted to be more than that,
yeah,
it was an invitation to do more. So don't worry about it, dude.
Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
But he finds the hypothesis of the characters in later seasons having writers that advocate for them. Mm-hmm. And, every character has a writer in the writer's room. He finds that theory, or like that viewing of the show, as being disagreeable, because he thinks characters in later seasons too often mold character archetypes in the way that we docked the dress for. And honey, I just want to say, I am so glad that we get to share this space, despite the fact that we disagree so much.
We adored every season of that show. It was peak.
I do not think this show ever got worse. Mm-hmm. The dress is very early on that I am willing to consider it the very beginning of the show. It basically is. Yeah. And it is the worst point, which means that if you were to graph this show on like a chart, over time, what's the popularity, that it just goes up. Or not popular, the quality. Quality, yeah. It goes up, and it never sinks back down, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I do know that is not unanimous in the community. Yeah, I know there's a very outspoken group of people.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to really have strong feelings for seasons 5 and 6, which
we loved.
We loved. It's that's when the writing gets a little bit more woke, too. Don't forget. I'm sure that turns a lot of people off.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to imply that of any particular person, but I do think that there is perhaps a part of that, a group of people that maybe don't like it because it got a little more woke. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry if that's how you feel about this. You're taking L's.
Oh yeah,
that is not good. That is one of the best parts of later Gumball.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But yes, continue on.
But yeah, he disagreed. Also, he disagreed that the male students were romantically interested in Gumball in the dress because they act the same way as the girls do. And they're not made to be seen as like explicitly romantic in any way. Mm-hmm. And I get what he's saying, and I don't mean to like pull cards, but I'm the woman in this interaction. And for me, putting myself in like Gumball's shoes, I would have felt like romantic tensions there, because I think there's too much sexist history in our culture and our society. Like, so much sexism informs our daily life that I think you kind of have to actively go against it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And like very explicitly state you're not doing that for it to kind of not come across as like kind of romantically charged. And that's unfortunate, but that's just how fucking nasty the world is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, maybe I'm off base on that. Maybe I'm like a little weird for thinking that. I can't speak for all women.
Well,
but
your opinion is valid.
Yes. That's ultimately what my conclusion is valid, but I recognize that it's only one opinion.
Yeah.
The quest is a great episode. Second favorite of the whole season.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, I like it so far. I don't know where I'd put it because we haven't seen a whole lot of the season yet, in this rewatch. But it's probably pretty high for me too. I love what they do with Tina in this episode.
Yeah, we love it. We just love a good Tina episode. I think that's the rule.
The spoon, I tend to agree with the guy here. This is one of his least favorites of the season. The
spoon is an interesting episode.
Yeah, it's very weird, and it kind of feels like an outlier in the same way the dress is, but not as negative way.
Yeah.
But it feels like it has the same sort of syndrome where it's like someone was here that is not a part of, like, the Gumball family of creators later on, you know?
Yeah.
It's like when you get first season weirdness in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Where it just kind of feels like the show hasn't found
itself quite got it. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, absolutely.
He's a proud Tina stan.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Tina stan. She's great.
Best characters in season 1, in the guy's opinion.
I think that's
many complexities and nuances to her character. She's got, a strained relationship with her femininity. She struggles with this, like, monster appearance complex. And she has, like, resentment towards her father. And I completely agree. But Budget, unfortunately, made her a bit more of, like, a tertiary character, so she didn't get the
That's
depth.
Unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. But this is why I think she's kind of prototypical to what this show does later on.
Yeah.
She feels like the very earliest character arc. I mean, she is. She has a very, very good base for it, It's just, like you said, budget, It feels like they knew what they were doing already, but they just couldn't do it to the extent they wanted.
Yeah, I guess they just didn't probably anticipate how much it would end up really being to feature her that often. But I guess, a whole 3D model and rig and stuff, that's probably...
Honestly, yeah, that might
pricey.
be it. Yeah, that's probably something to that.
And you know what? That's the problem. They didn't because they didn't have the budget for it.
Yeah,
it all comes down to
capitalism. It all comes down to money. Every time. Do you think the fact that Tina's 3D animated and that's more expensive would have had any change on it if money wasn't a concept? People would just be doing it for passion. They wouldn't care that it, like, maybe theoretically, I don't even know what that would be in a communist society to cost more.
Yeah.
And that's the project versus product stuff.
Yeah, I can't.
This
really
show's
imagine...
edges are when it's a fucking product instead of a project.
I can't imagine when this show, where the show would change, especially later on with how much they already get away with. Like, honestly, we've talked about, but later on, this show absolutely could have been a great Adult Swim show.
Honestly,
if they had been able to be on Adult Swim, I feel like they could have taken things a step further in a great way.
I genuinely do really wish that at least, like, Ben Bocale could get a adult show, an adult animated show. Because I do think that if he can, like, create a writer's room like this one again, and, like, maybe do something new but very similar to this, I think it could be a really, really good, like, adult streaming-oriented show where you're kind of given a lot of the openness that they can do in streaming. I think this show would honestly get a lot out of that.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to what the writer's room would get out of it. So a new project with that would be awesome.
Yeah, like, they already do so much, especially later on, and I always am so curious of what it could have been like if they were allowed to take these things a step further.
Yep.
Because it sure would have been something. But yeah, Ben Bocale should absolutely get his own, like, animated adult show.
I would, honestly,
I don't know if he's interested in doing that, but I think he would be doing great at it. Him and whatever. I don't know if he does this team or a new group of writers, but I think there's something there.
Honestly, yeah. I do think so.
Yeah. So, Ben.
Come on. Hit us up. We'd be great for your writer's room. The Watterson siblings have great chemistry in the quest, which I agree with.
Yeah.
Gumball risks taking on a T-Rex for Anais, and Anais is, like, comfortable putting her, stuff at risk for the boys. They very clearly love each other. It's sad that Anais gave such a signature part of her character up so that they would be basically forced to retcon this. She can't get rid of Daisy. We have to return back to the status quo. So it, by necessity, gets overwritten by the next episode, which I actually have some headcanon that makes this better, hopefully. I'll talk about that when we actually get to the episode, though.
Okay.
The Spoon, it overly relies on making idiots of the characters, which, again, I agree with. These characters are just, like, the characters in the family are made to be extremely, like, incompetent in a weird way.
In a very cartoony way.
Yeah. We'll get to that, too. But, like, I think we agree on that. It is exaggerated, like, this whole idea of them being idiots, which could be funny in concept, is exaggerated to an extent where it becomes tiring. Yeah. And it's not endearing at all. And the spoon being treated as, like, deadly, it's a cute running gag. I have some comments on that, too.
I will talk about it.
But he doesn't care for much of the rest of this episode's humor.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Let's save our comments for it.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we will get to that when we're on the actual episode. That's all for the guy. You want to talk about,
Duke of Earl, 1994.
That's Tip.
Tip, yes, thank you. So,
Tip,
first things first. She, her. They said that they apologized for their comment about your pronouns last week, and they did not know that it offended you.
I literally just told you she, her, and you defaulted to they, them immediately.
I'm sorry, it's just my brain defaults to they, them to every time.
I think that is definitely like a bit of like a divergence for you. I think that's neurodivergence for you, so I think it's like understandable that you don't always get it. Yeah, I'll try my best because I don't think I have as hard of a problem with it as you. But like, I think if anyone's offended by that if you get called like they, them, and you don't take those pronouns, please try not to get like offended by it.
Because
it's not intentional.
My brain just always defaults to they, them from anybody. Especially if I'm like not actively looking at their pronouns.
I didn't mean to call you out for so long. I just I wanted to point it out as a bit of a joke.
No, yeah. I've always
What was her point again? Sorry about the pronoun comment. That's fine. I'm happy that you apologized. I didn't want that to be seen as like a hostile move against you, that I was being like some sort of bitch or something. But I just wanted to let you know that like I was a little bit upset about the way you worded it. Just, in like the warning kind of way, the precautionary way, where it's like, hey, if you interact with more trans people, use this as like a learning experience for the future that we don't like when you say that. I'm not really upset. But we had this theory. I think there might be some sort of disconnect from us.
Yeah.
There might be some sort of like language barrier, and I don't know what from. If like maybe English is not your first language, or maybe you just like use English in a way that doesn't really like function with our divergences or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think there might just be a disconnect, so it's fine. I'm not like upset with you.
Yeah, there's no hard feelings towards anybody.
No,
at any point.
This is by virtue of the fact that it's around the product we make.
Yeah.
Project, not product.
Project.
But because it's based solely around our project, it's ours, and so I would like to use this platform to strike transphobia down. And if that comes from someone who I'm otherwise, like, not hostile towards, it's not personal. I just want to be a voice of anti-trans bigotry since I deal with it so much. And I don't get to hear that in other media as much.
Yeah, that makes sense. Be a speaker for your...
Yeah. So it's not personal. It's politics.
Yeah. That's just our vibe. If you're listening now, this is a very weird, eclectic space, so...
Yeah, really, we're not really making a space for Gumball fans. I think we're just making a space for people that would be our friends.
Yeah, honestly. But anyway, so their comments about the end...
Not to make that, like, parasocial.
No.
It is not a friendship, and I don't mean to imply that. That's unhealthy thinking.
No, I
you know what I
mean. I didn't think that's what you meant, but yeah. They said the end was the start of better, more productive writing for season 1, despite it being the weakest season to write, according to Ben. I don't know where that is from, but that's an interesting little tidbit of information. They said they disagreed that you didn't like the moon mooning the sun.
They disagreed with that?
Yeah, they said, how could you not like it? How could you not find that funny?
I think there is... I think there genuinely is some value in it being not funny. So, like, I'm not saying that to be, like, negative about the episode. I think there's something interesting to be said about the fact that the payoff for this episode isn't even humor.
Yeah.
At least in my mind. So it's like, it's not a negative thing. It's just a different, I think, type of appreciation for the show.
Mm-hmm. And then lastly, they said the comment about panic buying and imagining Richard buying up all the toilet paper was not necessary.
Yeah.
And we got to make something real evident.
We have talked about this a lot.
We've thought about a lot about what we wanted to say.
I want to make sure we're not being too hostile. Mm-hmm. But we do have, like, we disagree with the sentiment that something can be not necessary for the podcast.
Yeah.
Like we said, it's basically what we were saying earlier.
Yes,
we want this to be project, not product. Mm-hmm. I don't want to appeal to people who are going to ask me to change the DNA of my project just to make, like, the market base bigger.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't care if we have 1 million views or not. Uh-huh. I just want my community to really appreciate what it is that I'm doing. And, I want to be very meaningful content for the few people that actually find value in it.
Yeah.
Rather than just being like an alright thing that, if we stopped uploading, you would forget that we ever existed. Then remember us like 2 years later and be like, oh yeah, that was a really weird time period.
Yeah.
So...
Oof.
I want to be something that's going to stick with you, and I think to do that, you have to be exclusionary.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be mean, because I don't know why you don't think this is necessary. It may very well be that you've had, like, genuine fucking COVID trauma, and it's a trigger for you. And, like, I'm trying to look at it empathetically like that.
Yeah.
That, like, this might be a genuine, like, trauma response, or, something of that level of severity, and I don't want to disrespect that. And so I do apologize if that kind of comment is a sticking point for you. But at the same time, this is my space. And if that becomes a concern for you, I understand if you need to duck out. There is no malice in us not being the right place for someone. And I want to make that very clear, not for Tip specifically, but for everyone.
For anybody who has any problem with anything that we talk about,
just
of course,
hey.
we want to censor ourselves in a way that we're not spewing hatred or anything negative.
Yeah, no, like
anybody.
I want to be very honest, and I don't think that's going to include being a bigot.
No, we're not trying to do anything like that. All we want to do is just make this a space where we can just talk about whatever the hell we want. We don't want to think about, well, we can't say that because our sponsor wouldn't like that, or shit like that.
Yeah, no, like, I don't want to have to worry about that. So, like I said, I'm sorry if we say something that ends up being, like, genuinely traumatic or whatever. But, I don't want you to think I'm disrespecting that if that's something you face. But I don't necessarily care. Uh-huh. Like, if it's a big contingent of our viewers that are saying that they don't like something, I'm willing to be convinced that I'm in the wrong. Like, I'm not being closed-minded about it. Just, you've got to convince me why this is not necessary. Yeah. You can't just tell me. Mm-hmm. You can change my mind if you give me, like, a good enough reason in my own opinion. But, I'm not going to kowtow myself just because someone says so.
Yeah.
But that's
I get what you mean.
None of that's meant to be negative, though.
We're not trying to be hostile. We're just like... No, if you get our vibe, you get our vibe. If you don't, then this just isn't.
I guess we're like setting boundaries, which is healthy, and that's not mean.
And not absolutely anything that needed to happen on air, but yet here we are.
Hey, maybe we should have probably policed how we said that a little bit better. Come up with like a script to word it, but I think we're being honest, and it's okay.
Yeah, I don't think we need to.
Because it's not about an individual. It's just like, hey, this one person reminded us of a conversation we want to have with our community at large because we want you to be here, like, voluntarily.
Yeah.
And I want you to know what you're getting when you sign up to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Because, that's a long commitment for you. Even if you only watch one episode, that's a couple hours. And I want to save you that if you're not here for what we want to do, it's all right. We don't need bigger numbers.
Yeah, I can't really add anything to it. I think that makes it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna ask you for like fucking likes and to share us.
Hey guys, make
I
sure
do
you tell
think that
like
if you do see value in what we're doing here, I would really appreciate it. I'd be really honored and humbled.
Yeah.
If anyone shouted us out because they liked what we're doing.
Yeah.
But it's not necessary. You know,
we're not going to ask anyone to do.
If anyone's listening to this and you're feeling like passion for what we're doing here, shout us out if it feels right. But if it doesn't feel right, and if it just feels like, oh, I'm wanting to help my my community make a little bit more money, or like we're trying to game the system, haha, or whatever. Don't worry about that shit. Don't do it because you feel some obligation to your online content creators or whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
No, this is
like, we're doing like verbal dada.
Yes,
we know abstract. We're counterculture here.
And so is Gumball. Gumball is not a neurotypical show.
I don't think it is, and I think that's very telling in the people that have like gotten onto our shit and started talking to us.
Yeah,
we already seem like a pretty diverse group, and very inclusive too.
Yeah.
The one person who we've pretty consistently talked to at this point has been Guy, and he's been very friendly, very inclusive.
Yeah.
And it's awesome, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we are very, very happy.
I hope that's the kind of people we're drawing in.
Yeah.
If you're a fucking bigot, you can get right the fuck out of here. I don't want any of your bigotry here.
No, if you have
I'm going to call that shit out if I see it.
Yeah, we don't want any of that shit here. If you have any negative thoughts about who we are, that we're gender queer individuals, and... Yeah,
we don't fit the mold in any fucking way other than our race and our limb count.
Yeah.
We're neurodivergent, we're queer, we're gender queer, we're fucking poor.
Yeah.
We're every type of fucking marginalized.
Except like race and stuff.
That's it. That's pretty much it. Outside of that, we're the fucking underdogs in society. We got that privilege. If you're an underdog too, you're with us.
Yeah.
We want to be your fucking squad.
And we still got our privileges.
We do. And we recognize that, which is good. We all need to recognize our privileges.
Yeah, not to sound like a fucking school teacher, but
that's my PSA. That's my, like...
PSA, guys.
That's my, like, community teaching for the week. We all should be a little bit better about being inclusive, everyone. I do it, too. Sometimes I'm a jerk, and then I realize that I was being prejudiced.
Yeah,
this fucking capitalist world of ours teaches you a lot of hate.
Yeah.
And you just gotta unlearn it.
We're so driven to compete.
That's how you be a good person. Mm-hmm. You strip that shit away from you. Everyone goes through it.
Everyone is either better or worse than you. And I hate it.
It doesn't have to be that way. And, just trying to strip that shit away from me. What the hell were we talking about?
We were talking about this comment.
Tip's comment. I'm so sorry, Tip. Or very happy if you like the fact that we're talking about your comment so much. Whatever your reaction is, I understand.
Yeah, they said, no, I am not a Looney Tunes fan. I just happened to choose Looney Tunes as the dress's inspiration, mainly because of the slapstick and humor. So that was in your relation to your comment. You said that they might have liked Looney Tunes.
Yeah, I thought so, because like you seemed to be talking a lot about it, and you seemed to just kind of have like a bit of you just seemed to know what you were talking about a little bit, so I thought you were in that like interest community.
Yeah.
So, my bad if that was like offensive or anything. I didn't mean to assume anything about you. I just kind of thought that was what I was picking up.
But then they said, also kind of agreed with our sentiment about the dress and felt like it was a weird, bad episode. And then they said, in cases like these, you can clearly tell that the writers forgot that they were supposed to be writing for a kid show and lost themselves on the process. It only gets worse later on.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like with episodes like The Dress, they do forget that they're writing for children. Or maybe not, like, I don't think I would word it that way, but rather I think it would be like they forgot that their media is going to be influencing the way that children think. And they're not being responsible with that, is at least what I'm kind of taking from that, because, like, this is a bad lesson to be teaching kids. Like, they don't handle misogyny in that episode very well.
Yeah.
And I think that's that writer that we see once. He's a man, right?
The what?
the writer for that episode?
Oh, yeah, what's his name?
Isn't he a man?
David Cadby Newby?
Yeah,
he's
David.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't mean to assume maybe this person's transitioned by then. Maybe this person is like some sort of trans identity. I don't mean to like lock them into their cisgender, but as far as I'm aware, they are fucking cis.
Yeah,
and they're a
some
man.
middle-aged
so they
man,
don't.
I think.
This person probably does not understand what it's like to be a woman at all, and that's what it feels like. You know, I feel all the fucking cocks in this writer's room, and they're not even the fun ones that have makeup on them.
Yeah, especially, yeah, absolutely. They said that they disagreed with the "I want more kids" scene. Darwin would never do anything like that, so at least he was smart enough to not think about marrying Gumball and having babies with him while he was in that trance. The way Gumball thinks about Darwin in this season is so inaccurate. End quote.
You know, honestly, that's fair. That's a big criticism I had with the episode, too, was that the boys just seemed to have very bad understandings of one another, and I didn't like that, because, like, one of the sweetest, most endearing moments of this entire fucking show, in my opinion, is the episode in Season 6 where Darwin kind of, like, runs away, and they have no way of finding him. Like, he is almost certainly gonna die, but Gumball knows him so fucking well that he can accurately guess every little minutia of what he's doing and the reasoning why, that they managed to find him and save his life.
Yeah, it's great.
That is so cute, and I was choking back so many tears watching that.
That was
and then
a
you
great
look
episode.
at an episode like this, and you're like, these boys don't even act like they live together. They act like they are fucking on a stage and just performing roles. They don't feel like real people that interact with one another.
Yeah, it just feels like some project. Or not, but not project in a good way.
That's why I think that episode is written by the person, and like the other two are just credited because like in the contract they have to technically be writers of every episode or some shit.
I don't know if that's
but it's
true,
he is exclusively the creative. Like basically, that episode feels like this guy came in with a terrible script because it seems like nepotism. It seems like this guy's a shitty fucking writer.
Yep.
And it feels like our two main writers, Ben and Mick, were tasked with like, you have to make this exact story happen in the world.
Yeah.
You know, so like they dealt with continuity of like who goes to the school and who like is just a background character and shit.
Yeah.
But the actual meat of that episode was written by someone who just did not belong.
Yeah, they did not get what Gumball was
about. It really
about
does feel like that. And I think it's just because that episode is not inclusive.
Yeah.
It feels so cis heteronormative. I guess that's what I don't like about it. Because this is an inherently fucking trans experience. Why the fuck do you not have a trans writer on this episode?
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand gender at all. And it's frustrating.
They also said that they didn't like that Darwin's crying at the end of the episode was too much, and it really sounded like the voice actor behind the mic was either very sad or hurt or in pain. And they said that he probably was for it to work. Yet you made it a point in saying that it only worked because the kid wasn't doing a corny type cry like you might expect in another cartoon.
Yeah, this is where I worry about your response to our COVID joke. Do you have, I don't mean to be like intrusive or anything, but like, do you find yourself with a lot of triggers? Because it sounds like you're just complaining that we are not giving you a trigger warning.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in an offensive way. I know that like the right has tried to make trigger warning like a mockery, but I genuinely mean that. If that's a trigger of yours, I apologize that we're like not understanding your reasoning, because I gotta be honest, I don't see why you would dislike an actor giving a very realistic take, if not that it triggers you when you hear it.
Yeah, I think his performance in it is great. I think it's a testament to the voice actor.
I guess I'm just trying to say that I'm sorry, but I do not understand your opinion here.
Yeah. I
want to make sure that you get to express it so that other people in the community can hear that and maybe agree with you in a way that I don't.
They said that the quest, they didn't really care for much for the Anais episodes, as she is not her favorite character, and she didn't like the episode because it included Tina as well. Only the good parts were the schoolyard scene. They queued off. And, but it did win a couple of awards at the British Animation Awards.
Interesting.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's Interesting.
That's a hot take.
Interesting that you don't like Anais and Tina, because they're like some of my favorite characters in this season.
They're so great.
I love that Anais gets a lot of attention where I feel like she kind of gets sidelined later on, and then she's pretty much like, well, she's here because it's an Anais episode. Not like, it's Anais tagging along with other characters.
Yeah.
Like, we get that with her with, like, Jamie later on, which is great. But, I don't like that we kind of lose her a little bit. So, I'm happy to see her so much. And then Tina, like we said, she is probably my favorite season 1 character. Because she's actually going through, like, a character arc.
Yeah, yeah, Anais is kind of still finding herself. She's not that kind of socially awkward kid yet. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's obviously not very popular or anything, but, like, they don't really know what to do with her.
Yeah, she's not, like, autistic yet.
Yeah, she's not autistic yet. Yeah, so yeah, but otherwise, I like it. I love Anais and I love Tina. There's not a character in the show that I don't love.
Yeah, I truly can't say that there's a character I didn't love in this show. As long as you recognize that the characters can only be as big as their roles in the show, I love them all.
Yeah.
You know? Everyone's got a little bit of depth to them. Everyone's got, like, a couple of character traits.
Uh-huh.
And it's just, like, I don't know. This is... I hope that as a game master, I can make my characters, like my NPCs, as infinitely interesting as a collective as Elmore can do with its residents. Because everyone here is just a whole new thing, and I love each and every one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I love them all. There's not a single episode we watched that first time we watched the show where I was like, "Oh, it's a Tobias episode." I was like, "Oh,
yeah." There's never a character where I was like,
JoJo
we're
episode.
Focusing on this person."
Yeah.
I never felt that. The only time I did kind of feel that was when maybe we went too long with seeing a character, and I'd be like, "Oh, I really wish we were getting," So I might look at it and be like, we're getting another Tobias episode. Yeah. I like him, but I really wish we would get another, like, Molly episode or something.
Yeah, maybe we'll have some more insight on it as we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, she explained that she doesn't like Tina, but she agrees with the other reviewers saying that Tina's personality and character wasn't really fleshed out in season 1, and the show itself didn't really explore her femininity.
Yeah, I really wish the show would focus on that too.
Yeah,
I love that Tina kind of has this like really far-flung relationship with her femininity, like that she does definitely have like a side of her that really deeply wishes she could express some level of femininity to the world. Yeah. But she feels like she can't. Mm-hmm. She feels like it kind of feels like she knows she's kind of trapped into like a particular role, and she doesn't want to be there. Yeah. But she doesn't know what to do about it.
Yeah, I would say that.
I love it. I love her. Honestly, I am very, very sad that she does not get as much attention in her character arc as everyone else does later on.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for the spoon, they said the spoon was better than the quest in their opinion. It felt sort of like a Christmas episode because of its Home Alone like setup. Interestingly,
yet another person I disagree with personally.
Interestingly, its animation really feels like something you'd see in Japanese-inspired cartoons like Teen Titan or anime.
Yeah, that's really true. That's really insightful, I think.
Which is due to much of it because of the team of Boulder Media, which was the animation team. They left the Gumball after season 1. And so that's why the animation changed. Honestly, yeah, I guess that's why. It's a good trade-off.
I had a big question about why this episode is like drawn so uniquely, and I think you solved it for me there.
And then they also said that later on, or that the writing, I don't know if this is for the writing for this episode for the season, but in later seasons the anime-inspired expressions and style look so generic, with one exception. The writing also feels average generic too. It's not predictable like you might expect.
I have to disagree. I think when you say it's very predictable, what I see is that it's references to what's popular. Yeah. Like, the show feels very in tune with younger culture because, like, a lot of the anime references and shit they pull are, like, JoJo references and stuff.
Yeah.
And so even as someone like me who I've never seen any fucking JoJo, I appreciate it because it feels like Gumball is addressing what is popular in media right now. Even if I don't necessarily like it, I enjoy that this looks like the type of shit that anime people share with one another right now. You know, it just feels contemporary to me, so I really enjoy that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like that. They also said that Darwin, they believe that Darwin actually wears socks and not shoes. She says that they've been referred to as shoes countless times since the very beginning, but were finally called socks by Darwin and the puppets.
Yeah, I wanted to go back and watch that. I wanted to see if that's actually true, because I gotta be honest, I'm not saying you're wrong here, but I really have a hard time believing you. I'm just kind of skeptical, because that's an interesting tidbit that I think I would have remembered.
Yeah.
If I saw it, and I guess I'm just kind of like weirded out, because I'm like, is that true? I should know whether or not that's true, and I don't. So, like, I'm skeptical, but that's very cool if it's true.
Uh-huh.
I got a little distracted, though, because I wanted to get to our comments, because we have, I think, 2 more left.
Yeah.
But I didn't have them pulled up, so I was going to pull them up, and I had to go past your feed on Reddit, and I wanted to make sure I complimented you and kind of encouraged our listeners to go check it out, too. You look lovely in your photo that you took and uploaded.
On Twitter?
On Reddit.
Oh, thank you. I posted that.
You're
on
in the Hellraiser.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's very cute.
I thought it was cute.
You do. You look really good in that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
The fuck were we talking about? Oh, yeah, the socks. Well, okay, whatever. I'm going to kind of summarize this so we can continue forward. But their next comment, the last comment we'll read from them, is that they believe that Leslie is not gay, as many fans want to believe. He is effeminate because he's based on the fact that plants have no specific gender. However, a female in the Japanese, European, Spanish, Brazilian, and French and Mexican dubs.
Oh, also, Tip does say that they are not that good with words. That's the first thing that she put in her comment. So I just want to be like affirming. Yeah, we picked up on that, and it's okay.
Yeah.
We get you. We're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't entirely remember what was that. What did she say?
Let me go back to it.
Oh yeah, Leslie's not gay.
Yeah.
So many fans would like to believe. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're queer, but again, I hate to pull a card, but as a bisexual trans woman who, for a while, thought she was a bisexual guy, Leslie very obviously, like, and not even with headcanon, like, straight up canonically has to be at least bi.
Yeah, he definitely.
But is almost certainly fully gay.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm sorry, but I have to say, like, I can't clock him any other way.
It's the gaydar.
He's coming off so hard on that gaydar. I mean, like, he's literally... I don't know if he's ever expressed romantic interest in a girl outside of the weird stuff I don't like written with the dress. But, I don't know if he's ever had, like, a particularly romantic interest in a girl. But he did very specifically want to date Banana Joe.
Yeah.
He's very specifically had a crush on Banana Joe, and that is not, like, up for debate. That was straight up just, like, canonized.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So,
especially later on, yeah.
I'm sorry, he's gay.
Yeah.
At least bisexual.
But then...
He couldn't not be.
Yeah.
But I do think that, you know, the fact that he's so fabulous in the later seasons, and he's a drag queen, right?
Essentially.
He's obviously a drag queen. I think that is probably a reference to the fact that plants don't have a particular sex. They're usually hermaphroditic.
Yeah.
Because Leslie also will present in a male and female form, just like plants will.
Yeah.
So, you know, that makes sense. But I think that's where I read it. As he's definitely gay, but he does have a sort of a gender non-conformity to him.
Yeah. So our last 3 comments, just so we can actually get talking about the episode here.
Yeah, this is taking a long time. I apologize.
Sweshish said the Spoon was their favorite episode because it was their first episode I watched. It takes them back to 2014, 2015. Which is very lovely. Jackson Guitar Hero said, both great episodes, but the Spoon is definitely one of my favorite episodes. My daughter and I both like to randomly yell out, "Oh my gosh, he's got a spoon! Such violence!"
Yeah, that's pretty cute.
That's pretty cute.
I definitely see that. Like, if you're a kid watching this episode, you probably really like it.
and that's what Gumball's great at.
I think that's where it kind of loses me a little bit, is it does feel a little bit too kiddish for me. But it's not bad. Like, this is definitely not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. It's just not for me personally. Yeah. You know? And that's fine. Not every episode has to be.
And then Elevated Brownie 37, where they have their profile pictures, Carrie, is very cute.
That's adorable.
The Quest was a solid episode. Not one of their favorites by any means, but they thought that it was pretty decent, and the ending was honestly pretty wholesome.
What is going on?
And then the spoon... yeah, that's the phone, by the way. we should really address that.
I don't know why it's making that noise. I think it's TikTok.
But then they said the spoon was incredible. One of their favorite episodes from season 1. Sal Left Thumb is one of their favorite side characters.
Yeah, that's just interesting because I didn't really feel I do love Sal. Sal's fucking great.
Yeah,
but this episode is I don't know. I think it's a little bit lower, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
This is like above the debt, I think.
Do you want to take 5, get some drinks, take another hit before we actually talk about the episodes? Because I could go for a refill.
Yeah. Do we worry about that from an artistic standpoint? That's the ultimate question you gotta ask. Like, do we really care?
Yeah.
If our podcast has a little bit of munchy sounds in it?
I guess if people don't like it, you might not like the sound of us
Hey guys, I don't
eating.
know if you're listening to this or we cut it out, but welcome back.
So we had to, I don't know if we cut out that earlier part, but if not, we'll summarize. We kind of had a little dilemma because I was like, man, we're high. I really want a snack. And there are some delicious crawlers here that I won't say the name of.
No brand names.
No brand names. No brand
namings. But there's some gummy worms. Ones that you can usually find at your local gas station.
Yeah, they're like gas station.
It's a bigger bag of them.
They're a bigger bag of them, and they're very, very yummy. And I was like, man, I really want to snack on these while we talk about the podcast. But then we were like, well, did we care if we like eat? If we have like munching sounds in the podcast? And it's like, I mean, I guess we don't. I certainly don't care. I just don't want people to be off put if they don't like the sound of, you know.
Yeah, there might be like a sensory thing there. And I understand if that like makes you uncomfortable or makes this hard to listen to. There's no like bad will or anything if that's the case. But for me, if I could vaguely hear my hosts taking like in a drink or some candy or whatever, I like that because it makes me feel more like I'm there with them in person. That they're not like policing how they look or act or sound because they're on stage or whatever. You know, it feels like very honest.
Yeah.
And I like it personally.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, if we have a big outpouring of people saying they don't like it, I guess we can stop.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Like, I'm willing to be accommodating if it's, like, bad for a lot of people.
Yeah, if a bunch of people are like, please don't, we don't like it, then we will restrict it. But this is just kind of the vibe.
This podcast is in some ways communal.
And if you hear the sound of us pouring more of these onto a napkin. This is so casual, guys. I
told you it wasn't nearly enough.
You're right.
Honestly, if we allow ourselves to snack during this podcast, we're gonna need like a family-sized bag of.
Honestly, I think we should just get like a bowl that can be our like snack tray for when we're on the podcast.
Like our fucking hors d'oeuvres tray.
Yeah, we just put our snacks in there while we're eating the podcast.
I think we should just like keep. Anytime someone in the house buys snacks, they should like put the last one in there, so it's just a communal bucket of shit that we've had throughout the last like 2 months. Would be great.
I think that would be a great idea. And a good way to use food and not waste food.
Yes, it's right. That's a big positive because I hate wasting food.
Yeah, but anyway, let's talk about the actual episode, please. Because
one last
so many things. Yes,
I do want to say thank you, Guy, for coming to Leslie's defense as a gay person in the comments.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We'll talk about that more when we actually get to Leslie's episode, but I appreciate for, like, catching it and, you know, doing that intercommunication, you know. You guys don't have to just talk to us, but, hey, you know, you do what you want to do.
Yeah, I very much appreciate everyone who engages with each other. Yeah, nobody has to engage with each other, but we absolutely encourage it.
Yeah, no way in hell am I ever going to tell you to do something. Fuck that. If you ever feel like I could have that power over you, take a break from this podcast and then come back. Because I do not deserve that. I am not a leader. I don't want to do that shit that I think a lot of online creators kind of fall into.
Yeah, we don't want to be co-leaders. No. Not to that extreme. But anyway, so the episode actually opens up to the school bus. We have Anais she has Daisy the donkey with her, and Tobias and Carrie are tossing it back and forth against each other.
It's a little strange, right? Like,
yeah, that was my first note. Why is Carrie doing this. It doesn't
My
seem like
first
something she
note
would do.
was Darwin and Carrie are going to have to fight about this when he remembers that she bullied his sister. We should, have a season 7 episode about that.
You think Anais remembers this?
Doesn't she have, eidetic memory? She remembers everything.
Yeah.
I think so.
And I do love when we get to see the school bus, though. I'm always happy for a school bus. Even if it's just a scene. I love school bus
the
episodes.
school bus as, a framing device. It's so great.
It's very, very grounding.
It's such a great way to remind us of, when this is taking place.
Yeah.
Because they're like, okay, this is the beginning of a school day. This could be a Monday through Friday. It could be any of those, but this is, early morning on one of those days in, maybe spring, summer, fall. A nice, not super cold, but not super hot day. Mm-hmm. It's very great great at that. I think it's a very smart
atmospheric. It's very
choice.
good at setting a mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do love all the characters we get to see, and Carmen's reading a little book. That's precious.
And I do love that these two are bullying Anais, and Molly kind of looks like she's very awkwardly looking away.
She's just kind of watching, but not really getting involved.
Yeah, she's doing that thing where you put sunglasses down so you can watch, but no one can tell you're watching, so you can be bad.
She's
and
just
not get
man,
punished.
I'm glad that's not me right now.
Yeah.
But do we ever see Anais ride the bus with them a lot?
A couple of times.
Gumball and Darwin.
A couple of times. I've talked about it on the podcast where I was like, I'm glad that she's on this bus because it implies that she goes to the same school, which they don't address until later on.
Yeah.
So it's almost like foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm. So they're, throwing the Daisy the donkey around, and she goes up to Gumball and Darwin, who are just kind of minding their own business. They're just kind of in the seat. What do you think they're doing?
Yeah, they're probably just talking to each other about what happened yesterday. Or a game they want. Dude, I read online that Zelmore is going to be on a new console, and they're going to release it for a new console, dude.
Yeah, what would we have been doing? Probably playing our DSs.
We would have been talking about how, no, guys, I love my Wii U. I'm not owned.
I did love my Wii U.
I did too, but it was not.
It was kind of a mess.
It was kind of dookie.
I miss the aesthetic though. I miss the
I
Miiverse.
do miss that.
Miss the vibe of it.
I do miss the toy UI. Is very cute. I love the whimsy of Nintendo's older stuff, and we don't quite have.
Well, that's what the Switch is missing.
I wish the Switch was very
corporatized.
customizable in a way that you can rearrange the whole menu however you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't understand why they don't allow you to do that.
Yeah, so that's what they're talking about. And then Anais comes over and was like, "Can't you help?"
Yeah,
and
because apparently Gumball was the one who brought Daisy on the bus.
Yeah, he's a bit of a dick again, but
I don't know why he did that.
He cites childhood rule number 4: never get a toy out on a school bus. And I was like, well, what are the other childhood rules? How many are there? What's 1, 2, and 3?
I wouldn't know what number 1 is.
It's probably don't get caught.
Yeah, probably that's Gumball's rule.
Yeah.
But I love Anais' little, cute face trying to get him to do it.
Yeah, and we get a call back to that later on.
Uh-huh. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm more of a... And Darwin comes in with a coward.
And then
he's great.
Yeah, that's the one. I love that he's honest with himself.
He's very honest with who he is. He knows he's a coward. But he ultimately falls for it, as
because
he
he's
does.
got to defend his sister, yeah.
Uh-huh.
He does ultimately love her.
And worked on it with his dad, too. And his
Yeah.
mom probably at some point will.
This family is very, protective of one another. Everyone's looking out for everyone else.
So, yeah, Gumball goes over to Tobias, who's for whatever reason, I don't know why he's fucking around with Daisy the donkey.
Yeah, I guess it's just, he's kind of a bit of a shallow, douchey bully kid.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just a kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like maybe this is not necessarily what Tobias would be doing in this scene.
I don't think he would give a fuck about Daisy.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, Gumball,
I do love Gumball's hugely dramatic bluffing. It's very funny.
It's pretty good.
He's very
and I love
campy.
that actually Anais and Darwin are so enthralled with
they're
it.
Like,
they're
oh yeah,
wow.
They're like, yeah, he's got it.
He succeeded the role, but it was
Tobias,
a negative. Tobias succeeded.
Tobias succeeded his Wilczek more. We're talking GURPS talk. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows what that is. We play tabletop RPGs, guys, but we don't play D&D.
Yeah, no. GURPS is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But Anyway, so yeah, he's like, please give it back. And Tobias is like, no. And Tobias yeets it out the window.
Yeets it out the window like a big fucking asshole. And I was like, damn, this feels real.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, really well, upset. I get it. I get how bad this is because Anais is reacting so angrily.
Yeah, she's very upset. And
she gets this deep voice.
Yeah, and I was like, funny. Why didn't she use that on Tobias?
She's just like, give it back.
Yeah, if she could do that, she should have absolutely used
it. He would have fucking pissed himself. He's definitely got fearfulness.
Mm-hmm. But that does work on Gumball. And so Leslie comes along.
Yeah, this is weird. Why do we have this whole, like, handing off thing where Leslie finds it for some reason?
Why is he on the bus?
By the way, Leslie's root feet are disgusting.
I don't like it.
They look hairy.
Aren't they just plant legs later on?
I don't know. I don't know if they look like this the whole way, but it's kind of gross. But it's funny, too. Mm-hmm. I love that he actually walks on his roots, because of course he would. But I love that Leslie is a fucking potted plant. That is so goddamn funny.
It's such a peculiar, like, character choice, but it's very cute.
I love that he's not just a flower, but he's more niche than that.
He's a
potted flower.
Yeah.
He is a flower that has been put in a pot specifically to be, like,
he's
decorative.
Like a Plants vs. Zombies plant.
Yeah. I love him. But
yeah, so for some, it cuts to them. I'm already knowing that he has it, which I was like, how did they know?
Yeah, the framing is really weird because we skip a whole lot of stuff that, like, I don't understand why we don't get, and that's kind of where I was coming with this. It feels like they're almost trying to, like, shorten this, like maybe the time constraints really hard on them, because why do we have all this? This all feels like filler.
Yeah.
Why does Leslie give it to Juke? Like, I didn't even know those two knew each other.
Yeah, he gives it to Juke. And how did he know that's what he wanted? Can he speak Juke's language?
Yeah, that's like, why? That's what I don't understand. What do these two talk about? Why did Leslie give him that?
I guess.
Was he just like, hey, I recognize that you're like the immigrant kid, and you must be feeling pretty lonely because I'm marginalized too. I'm the only gay kid. Not really though. There's plenty of fucking queer color characters on the show, but like, hey, I recognize that you must feel lonely, so here's a friend.
That's great.
That's my reading, because otherwise it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, but then Juke points to the bench, and it's just kind of sitting on the bench.
He's like, you guys can have it, it's right there. And they go to get it.
And,
then Hector sits on it.
Yeah, which is like, is that like a callback to the early
this is like they reused the pilot joke.
I feel what it feels like.
But they inform him that it's on his ass, and he flicks it off with, like, Dragon Ball Z level speed of how fucking fast this thing's flying through the air.
And I do love the gag with Gumball not being able to catch things, and he struggles to catch it.
Yeah, and it's like a recurring gag throughout the episode. It's very fun.
And he just straight up runs into a basketball hoop.
Which is great. I love this great slapstick.
Expression.
And he, like, immediately has a swollen eye and, like, a broken tooth.
It's pretty great.
It's very funny.
And then we get to see Tina.
It ends up in Tina's hands, and she plays with it and then laughs, and those two come over.
I love the enjoyment she gets.
She loves it.
She pulls the string and it's like, hello. It just says something
and
cute.
She's like,
so happy.
She gets along with it so well. She's autistic. But yeah, so these two are like, oh no, we got to get it back. So they're like, excuse me, and as soon as they try and talk to Tina, she roars at them and gets a bunch of spittle on them.
Yeah.
Which is, like, weird and gross.
Yeah, I just love
But they don't get to explain themselves.
No.
It's very funny, though. I love them covered in the spit. It's just gross.
Oh, but before we get any further, let me mention that Tina this season is voiced by Dan Russell, just for this season. And next season he'll have a new writer whose name we'll get to then, but...
Hey.
It's just, my note for that is just, she's just a great character, and it's sad that we just don't see much of her. But we've kind of talked about that.
I'm so glad we get to see her. I'm glad that this is an episode. But yeah, this feels a little forced. Like, why didn't they just have fucking Tina find it on the road?
Yeah.
And then, like, we spend a little bit of time with them trying to figure out who took it.
Yeah.
But, that's neither here nor there. They decide to go to Plan B, and they find a Chinese knockoff.
Yeah, where did they find this thing at? Aren't they in school?
Yeah, they got this thing from Amazon, and they got, like, the one-day
Was
instant
it in, like,
delivery.
the Lost and Found or something?
It's great, but it's like this nasty fucking rip-off thing that just doesn't work. And I thought it was funny that Darwin suggests they do Plan B, which to me implies that these two talked about whether or not talking to Tina would work.
Yeah.
Like, that whether or not it was worth
They're like,
continuing
listen,
down
there's a
path
good chance. There's a good chance that plan's not
so,
going to work.
you know, we need to have a backup. And they did. But the Chinese knockoff does not convince Anais because it starts speaking in Chinese as it does this very forced movement. And catches on fire and burns to death.
Yeah.
It is so horrifying. It's like so raw feeling.
It just...
And I have what it says.
Oh, what's it say?
I have the translation. It is Chinese, from what I gather from the wiki, and it is, I am Daisy the small donkey. I love to dance. I am Daisy the small donkey. I love to... And then it burns up and screams in agony.
Daisy the small donkey.
That is such a great
hello,
translation.
we have a guest.
Hi, Peanut.
Hi, baby.
Do you have something you want to say to the viewers?
Listen, we've already been getting off track so many times. You're just going to make things worse, baby. Yeah, sorry, now there's a cat on the desk.
Hey, baby. What? It's not time to go to bed yet.
Yeah, it's not time. Sorry, it's, she thinks it's her bedtime.
She's our alarm clock. Or I guess like reverse alarm clock.
Yeah, she tells us when it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
But anyway.
The stars, by the way, as we transition into the nighttime, stars still are depicted the way they are in
I always thought that
the
too.
debt.
Mm-hmm. I wish they are cute. I don't think
it
they
is
do that
cute,
forever,
but I
though.
don't think I think the sky gets like a lot more realistic later on.
Yeah, I don't think it's as cartoony. But yeah, it cuts to that evening, and we're in the bedroom in the dark for whatever reason. And
by the way, I did want to say this was a small glimpse into like Anais as a detective because she read them like a book and figured out that Tina had it all through just like reading their reactions, which I thought was pretty cool.
I mean, she's very smart.
She is, like, she's got that already.
But yeah, she's like, well, you need to go and get it because I'm not gonna go without her. And so she has this cute off again with Gumball.
She does her puppy dog eyes again, and Gumball does it back.
Yeah, that's very funny.
And I have the exact dialogue because I love it. I want that to be like a constant thing that I always gotta write some dialogue down, and I love it. It's because you were the one who lost it in the first place. And by the way, I want to pause here immediately for some trans stuff.
Oh, okay.
This is fucking Anais talking about Daisy. She loves Daisy. She wouldn't say misgender her stuffed animal. After all, earlier in the episode, she calls Daisy a she. But now she says, you were the one who lost it in the first place. So Daisy is a fellow she-it.
Daisy is a fellow she-it.
That's my headcanon now. Daisy is a
genderqueer donkey.
Or as I like to call it, shit.
Shit. Yeah. But, yeah, so they're immediately like, okay, fine. Gumball's like, alright, but you guys have to come with me. And they're, of course, don't protest it. And then I'm like, how the hell did they, A, sneak out of the house, and B, get to the fucking junkyard?
Yeah, I wondered, does this imply that the junkyard is within walking distance of their house?
I don't think it is. I would
imagine.
imagine.
That's weird. Yeah, like, I feel like that would be something that we would establish and figure out later on.
Yeah, we wouldn't just jump cut straight to the next plot point.
Yeah, but, yeah, no, that's just how the show gets better later on. Yeah, they're there because they have to be, right? So they write them at the junkyard, and
we cut to where we see
I loved that
bedroom.
Gumball forces his siblings to go. But they do go. They're like, alright, yeah, we're putting you in an unsafe position, so we want to go too.
Yeah, they don't oppose. They're like, alright, fine.
Alright, yeah, we're doing this together. We're a family. It's very sweet.
But yeah, they go. We see Tina's bedroom, essentially, and it's just like a warehouse with a bunch
of like metal scrap as a bed, which is so funny. I love that in this universe, like, whatever is functionally a character's, like, bedroom or, you know, this, that, or the other thing can be whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever fits the character. It honestly, it feels to me very similar to, like, Animal Crossing. Yeah. And how every villager's got a house that's, like, very uniquely theirs, to the point where they sometimes don't even have, like, a bed or, like, amenities that you would think they would need.
Yeah.
Because it's all about, like, expressing that character's personality in the furniture. Cute. And I feel like they do that kind of thing in Gumball, too, where it's like a lot of the times we'll see a character uses something that is not literally that thing, but it is used as functionally something else. Like a garbage dump, like heap of plastic, or a heap of like metal bars and beams is a bed to Tina. I love when they do that.
That's great.
I love that shit so much.
Yeah, and then they kind of weigh their options, because then she's like, well, we'll have to call Mom and tell her. And Gumball's like, okay, well, do we want to face our mom, the wrath of our mom, or T-Rex? And so he deliberates, and he's like, well, we don't really want to piss off Mom. So they're more scared of their mom than they are this T-Rex.
Yeah, which is like, yeah, of course. Have you seen Nicole?
But
well, I love it. She would never hit these kids.
No,
I've said that before.
She gets angry at them, but she would
they
never
just
do that.
know that. They just know that when she gets angry, it's for a damn good reason. And they're like, "Oh no, I don't want to have to wrestle with the fact that I was a bad kid."
Yeah, that's
because they will make her. She will make her kids realize that they're in the wrong. She's a good mom.
Absolutely. And so I love Darwin's little squeaking when they're walking into the warehouse. It's kind of cute.
I love his little stress-induced tick.
And he's like, stop doing that.
And he's like, I can't. It's just
and
the thing.
Like, well, shut the fuck up and stop doing it anyway.
I want to know why is this a trauma response for Darwin? Why does he like vocalize? Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I guess it really is.
What past history has he had that's caused him to develop this tick when he's so
when he gets nervous, he just goes.
Poor baby. I want him to seek therapy for that. I feel bad.
He has some mental health things that we are not privy to.
That's very sweet, though. It is so cute.
But I love when they finally get up there and he's like, hey, throw me the pole. Like one of the metal poles or whatever, they're on the other side of the room because they're going to try and get Daisy out of Tina's arm.
Oh my god, this is great.
And he's like, I can catch it. And Darwin's like, no, he can't catch it.
Why did Anais think it was a good idea to go along with
I thought that too. I was like, why did she go along with it? But, you know, it was whatever.
It's so funny because it goes long, goes past Gumball, and it instantly knocks Darwin in the head so hard he falls down.
Yeah, and I love his little underside profile.
I love that we just see him knocked to the ground.
It's just immediate.
So goddamn funny. And this is such a good joke. This honestly might be my favorite moment to date.
Yeah.
This is so goddamn funny. I love when they do this type of humor where a character just gets like what looks like they're seriously injured, but it's a cartoon, so obviously they're okay. Yeah. But it's so funny.
But I do love that.
And he just kind of has to sit, like, he doesn't even get up off the ground immediately.
He's lying there unconscious
lies there for a little bit before he gets up and says, I'm okay.
Yeah, I love his little,
I love that he knew that we wanted to check up on him.
He's such a child.
But I love that he had to have been like unconscious for a couple of seconds. That's he was like, no,
I'm fine.
Fucking funny.
He was just like, no, I'm cool.
That's some GURP shit right there. Darwin rolled HT and he failed, so he got knocked unconscious.
But anyway, Gumball has the pole.
I feel like there's a D&D gift to be made out of this scene. It can just be like put like a mage hat on Gumball and then put like a fucking helmet on Darwin and just have it be like me when my friend brings the 10-foot pole.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Because he's just like fucking poking. Yeah, and he's talking about like, well, it's pretty hard. Or like me when my friend fails a traps roll. Well, it's really hard to move this long pole.
Yeah, that's great. But he like puts it in her nose and.
But he starts fucking with her because apparently she can't like wake up. She's a very deep sleeper. So they start fucking with her and they're like, look, happy, sad, just like sticking it in her mouth.
Yeah.
And then they play with her nose and pretend like she's eating her own boogers.
Oh, I bet she did not appreciate that.
No, she would be very angry if she really did that.
But yeah, eventually Tina turns over and so Daisy ends up like underneath her. And Darwin and Gumball have to push Tina, which I'm surprised they're even able to do it
Yeah,
all.
those two can, but only together, because as Gumball stops to reach for Daisy, Darwin lets out another squeak and falls underneath Tina.
And you can hear his bones crunching.
Yeah, he gets crunched, and it seems like he's suffocating down there.
But now
then
he's fine.
He reaches up behind her and repeats his "I'm fine" line, which was such a weird thing to continue. But I'm glad they did because it's funny.
It's very cute and very funny.
It's very endearing, yeah.
He's just got a little. He's a little quirky.
This episode does kind of honestly feel like this is a game run by a GM for 3 players who are playing in the Gumball universe. It really does kind of feel like everyone gets their moments of they're rolling for shit and stuff. But they have their little moment, and
they think they win.
They see Daisy's there, and they can reach for her. And they go to do so, pull her up, and the drawstring goes off. And they're all terrified. And what I liked was before they reveal to the viewer that the drawstring is going to be a part of this scene, it is actually on her finger.
Yeah, it's on her finger, and she was playing with it earlier, too.
It is actually set up.
Yeah, which is very nice.
Yeah, and then, sure enough, it goes off.
I love their surprise. Their faces that are just oh,
I love they're just blank
God.
smile. They're just immediately a survival strategy of freezing.
And Tina immediately wakes up.
They wake up, and I have a thing here. At this moment, so this is a bit of a long one. You might want to pause.
Sure.
So at this moment, Tina, this is apparently not true, because she does seem to be aware of whose toy this is at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But they never established that. So as far as we know, watching this episode, she doesn't know whose toy this is, because these two never got the chance to tell her it's their sister's.
Yeah.
They get interrupted before they can say that. So that is not a properly established part of this story yet. And so, using that minimum knowledge that we have at this point, assuming you've never seen this episode before, as far as Tina would be concerned, these 3 are being the bullies.
Yeah.
They snuck into her house, snuck into her bedroom, fucked with her body while she's sleeping, and was trying to steal her toy.
Yeah.
What we'll know later on is that this is her first and only toy.
Yeah.
And they're taking it away from her. So I'm thinking, don't get fucking angry at Tina for this one.
Yeah.
She's in the right in her own mind. She doesn't know that this is someone else's toy. She thinks she's just getting picked on.
Yeah.
And
she just goes into anger.
I really like that reading.
It's very cute.
I think that's very true for Tina. Is I think she just goes to anger mode in situations where it is not warranted. And if she could just learn to manage that, she would get along with people a lot better.
Yeah. And then, she chases them around the junkyard a little bit. She tries to bite them. She runs after them. They hide in a car, and they roll up the window because, she can't, get it.
So funny. She is a T-Rex, the size of, a movie T-Rex.
Yeah.
And Gumball's so worried about her being able to reach in there that he rolls up the window so that she can't, undo the lock. And she actually tries to unlock it.
What was she going to do if the door unlocked?
Why did she think to try that? But it's so fucking funny. And I love that she did, but, it doesn't make much sense. It was very funny.
Yeah, then eventually she just kind of...
She gives up and stomps on the roof instead.
Yeah, she could have killed them. What if she murdered these 3?
She could have killed them.
What would she have done if she realized...
Low on her damage.
What would she have done if she realized that she killed, 3 of her classmates?
Oh my god. She would have to get institutionalized. And honestly, she probably should. She does have some pretty dangerous, anger issues, but it's not her fault.
She's just raised in a tough world.
Yeah, but they're running away trying to get the doll back, and Anais is like, "This is all your fault, Gumball," and this is my toy. And Anais says that, and Gumball's like, "All right, well, here, take it." Yeah. And he just gives it to her, knowing damn well that puts a target on his little sister's back.
Yeah, but he does it anyway.
Yeah, because he is a coward. But, he does eventually realize that he's in the wrong, and he's like, all right, fine, toss it over here.
Yeah, he can't let his
he
consciousness
does be the
take over.
hero.
Yeah, he does. He just
put
decides to do the
himself
good
in
thing.
danger for her.
And then he's like, don't worry. You know I can't catch it.
I can't
And he catches
it.
it.
He does catch it. This is like an ironic use of a trope. Like, this is an inversion of something that's pre-established that I do like.
Yeah, and
I think that's
love
pretty
that.
well written.
And I love his little, I hate myself. And,
I hate
Darwin's like,
myself.
I hate yourself too.
I love that. I hate yourself
That's
too.
great.
It's
love
such
that.
a sweet line. I love Darwin so much. He is so
He's very cute.
goddamn precious.
But ultimately, they go to the front of the junkyard entrance, and
I don't understand the "where's a Darwin" bit that they do.
yeah, where he runs past.
He runs past super quickly, and then Gumball's like, "Where's Darwin?" I don't understand.
It doesn't really lead to anything.
No, that just didn't really go anywhere, and I don't know. Is that a reference to something?
I don't know, but he's just like running past them,
I
and then
don't-
they
just,
catch
like-
up with him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's obviously like meant to be kind of framed in a particular spot, so it's basically just the writers putting him where he needed, or I guess the animators putting him where he needed to be. I don't know. It's very weird. I didn't understand that.
I don't know, but anyway, they
My
catch
notes are
Tina.
down.
Tina catches
Oh,
up
here
to
we go.
them, and they're screaming, and Darwin's just screaming for a long time. So Gumball kind of shuts him up, and I love the little hand over the hand on Gumball's or on Darwin's face is very funny.
Gumball like blames Darwin here.
Yeah.
Like, or he like puts it in his hands, and I was like, I can't believe that Gumball is doing this shit to his brother when Darwin hasn't done a single thing wrong this whole episode.
Yeah.
Like, Gumball's the one that brought Daisy onto the bus, and Gumball's the one that failed to get it back. And Gumball, it would have been his responsibility to talk to Tina during school. All this has been his fault. Darwin's been trying to help more than he needs to.
Yeah,
and now he's
honestly.
getting put in, like, danger because of it.
Yeah, for real. He really shouldn't be helping out as much as he is, but he's loyal to his brother.
He is. They're loyal to each other. They love each other.
But then they're like, don't worry, her vision is based on movement, is what they say.
Like, she's like, that only works in movies.
Which is true.
Which is true, but also, is that the kind of, like, anti-T-Rex discrimination that exists in their world? Do you think that, like, if you're a T-Rex and you go to a restaurant or something, you'll hear, like, a white dad point to you and to his son and be like, look there, son, one of those T-Rexes. You know, their vision is based on movement. What idiots!
What
And do you think, like, Tina's had to grow up with that and then just kind of like, that's not how it works, but it just feels so excluded.
What an idiot!
What an idiot! Son, you see, we're superior.
But yeah, that is not true. So she
funny.
chases them
That's
down.
kind of what it feels like, the way she reacts to it, because she just like gives it a moment to kind of make you realize how stupid of a comment that is before she just cuts in with a blanket, like just a fucking blunt. Yeah, well, that doesn't work.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Stupid. But yeah, ultimately Anais comes to save the day. She drops a freaking crane on
Yeah,
Tina.
it's not well established that she's anywhere near that crane,
Yeah,
right?
can she do that?
I don't like that. Like, I feel like later on they would have shown her kind of running that way in the background, and we would have seen that happen, like getting set up. I guess that's the storyboarding versus the writing.
Yeah, honestly. But I love Tina's little sad face when
I
they
love
talk
her
to her.
sad
Her
face.
sad eyes.
I every time I see her, I think she's got to be close to crying, but she doesn't.
No.
But I always think she's gonna cry. She looks like she's really devastated, and I love this. Oh, my precious heart! I love Tina so much.
She's precious.
She just is just frightened. Like, she's scared. She doesn't have anyone. She doesn't really like her dad much, and she's scared where she lives. And she finds comfort in, like, this toy, and it helps her sleep at night. That is so
That's very cute.
fucking cute.
She's a T-Rex and she needs a little special little comfort.
I love that Tina's not just like an asshole.
Yeah.
I love that there's very few characters that are just like bad people.
And she's like, I was gonna bring it back.
But it just helped me sleep. That's so cute.
I want to know, was she actually gonna give it back? Do you think she had the intention to at any point?
Yes, I do.
Do you think she would have to be like, Anais?
I think Tina is at her heart a good kid, but she just gets judged based on her appearance and like how she behaves, and no one ever gives her a chance. That's my personal headcanon for Tina.
Yeah,
I love her so much, but
I love the first scene where we're like looking straight.
I
on
love
at her.
yeah, and
It's
she
very
just
funny.
has this weird like angle. But Anais feels bad and realizes that maybe you need Daisy more than I do, and she gives her Daisy.
Yeah, she's like, I have Gumball, or no, she says, I have Darwin and Gumball. She says Darwin first.
That's very sweet. She says, I have these two to watch over me. Yeah, I have here, I want to read this because this is a note I took.
Yeah.
And this is something I wanted to bring up when the note is like 3 words, or like 3 sentences long. And I said, this is why I love Tina. She's so lonely and has like no social group. I wish they would spend some more time on her in a later season, really detailing her like social isolation, because I think that's a big part of her character, and I love it. I think it's very sweet. I think her like ostracization is something that should have been brought up. It is very cute, and I think I would have loved to see that get resolved like properly.
Yeah,
but
it never gets quite the conclusion. But
and I genuinely wish that I genuinely wish that season 1 was set up such that Tina was kind of like a bully for most of it, and she was like the bully, and you think she's just going to play that role, but then by the end of it, she goes through these like character arcs and shit, and is shown to have another like kinder side, and from that point onward in the show, she's kind of like a distant friend type, She's never antagonized by like the boys. They recognize that she's a good person, so they act friendly to her.
Yeah.
I wish we got that through this show, because
I know
it would be very sweet, but we kind of go back to the status quo, which really sucks.
Yeah, I mean, she's not as aggressive towards them, I don't think, but she's...
But, like, this is only episode, what, like, I don't know, what is this, like, episode 6 or something?
Yeah.
And,
technically.
Yeah, like, that is not enough time to establish her as the bully yet.
Yeah.
They didn't even make her the bully before they twisted that. Like, she was immediately shown to have this softer side. Which I kind of wish was maybe written differently.
Maybe this is one of the last ones they wrote for the season, and they didn't get to choose when it aired.
Maybe something like that. But it's very sweet.
But I know our finale is also about Tina. So.
Yeah. I love that she's given Daisy, and she's like, you better get out of here.
Yeah.
And like, why?
She's like, my dad doesn't like trespassers.
My dad eats trespassers.
And he's big.
He is huge.
How big is he?
He's like Godzilla sized. And that's him. There's Mr. Rex.
Mr. Rex.
We don't even get to see anything but his like thigh.
Yeah, I read on Wikipedia that there was a scrapped episode about him.
That would be great. I would love that.
Apparently they were going to do it for budgetary reasons or whatsoever. Maybe they didn't.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But
I love it though. He's great.
He would have gotten a whole episode. That would have been great. Mr. Rex.
Great. Mr. Rex. I love him. So that's the end of it. That's how we end off. I think this is a great Tina episode. This is definitely like the show's starting to pick up in my mind.
Yeah, it's starting to pick up.
I really like this episode. Apparently that is not everyone's opinion, but it's definitely where I stand on this. I really like this episode. Love Tina. So happy to see her and happy to see her grow. And I love that we get all the kids, not just Gumball and Darwin.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's the best of the bunch we've seen so far. And I'm excited to see what takes its place.
Yeah, we'll get to that right away.
So yeah, that's it for the quest. I think we
actually I do have a little bit of trivia
else
for the quest.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I just again shamelessly stolen just like every episode from the wiki. So thank you to the guys that maintain that.
Yeah, whoever you are.
You guys are awesome, and I hope it doesn't feel like I'm stealing your work. I'm citing you guys because you just have a lot of interesting things to say about these episodes. And earlier storyboards for this episode have Sussy tossing Daisy around with Tobias instead of Carrie.
I did read that, yeah. Which is...
I'm glad it's Carrie.
Uh-huh.
Because I still don't think Carrie would do this, but
Sussy wouldn't.
But
Absolutely.
Sussy absolutely would not, I don't think.
I can't wait for her.
I love Sussy.
I can't wait for when she becomes a part of the
real
actual
character.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a good choice. It's mildly on a character for Carrie, but it's much more forgivable when Sussy do it.
Yeah.
This is the first episode of season 1 to be produced.
Oh yeah, I did. I would read that. Yeah. So what? Why?
Yeah. So how does that play along with this? Feel like maybe it's like the last episode.
I guess it's not.
Well,
It was actually the first one. Yeah.
It's very weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I can't speculate.
And if you go by production code, Tobias is our first ever speaking role.
I did have that.
Rocky is our first ever visual appearance, which is very cute. I like that there's a reading of quote-unquote first episode that makes non-Wattersons our first characters for both of those, like speaking and visual. Mm-hmm. Tina living in a junkyard. The trivia section says that may suggest her family's homeless.
Oh.
And it's either that or maybe this is just the only place in town that's large enough to house them.
That is possible.
Yeah, and, I think both of those are possible. I'm not sure which I like more. I think both readings are very funny and cute in their own ways. But Tina never having a toy before leans very heavily towards the homelessness angle.
I've never had a toy before.
Yeah, she's never had a toy because they've never had a home.
Yeah.
That checks out to me. Yeah. So I think I kind of currently stand on the homelessness part. I like the thought that Tina might be homeless. That's really interesting.
Add something to her character for sure.
But yeah, when I did think that her outfit in the Inquisition, the last episode, season 6, episode 44, it did kind of vaguely look homeless. Like it kind of looked like the clothes that we typically associate. Yeah, and so maybe there is something to that.
Yeah,
I
she's
think that's
at least
really
not well
that's
off.
cool. That's definitely like a loosely defined idea though.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, but I like it.
Yeah.
Mr. Robinson's car can be seen in the junkyard.
I did read that.
I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
I haven't spotted it myself, but the trivia does say it's there. The wiki says it's there.
I don't know.
The Watterson children sneaking up on Tina to get Daisy is one of the paintings done by Banana Barbara in season 3, episode 31, The Oracle.
That's great.
Yeah,
she saw that.
She saw that and painted it.
So that makes her canonically have these powers at this time.
Yeah, at this point in the history, Banana Barbara already has this knowledge of the future.
We just don't know it yet.
I love Banana Barbara.
I can't wait for Banana Barbara.
So awesome.
Great.
I want nothing more for myself than to be able to create characters as great as Banana Barbara. That is honestly the most Annie core thing. Is a character who has some extremely powerful, potent ability, but is otherwise in all forms incompetent. I fucking love that shit.
It's a great little character. We do love Banana Barbara. She's great.
Yeah, but, this is my little theory here. Mm-hmm. Despite the fact that Anais gave away her Daisy doll, it's still seen throughout the show. Yeah. So obviously they had to return to the status quo. The one thing I want to say is that one thing that's very brief, because I don't think I haven't really put a lot of thought in this, but I do think you could make an interesting twist on that, saying that that's the world being a living character that insists on the status quo being maintained could be the reason why that happens. Oh, yeah. I think that would be pretty cool if maybe throughout the show we just see 2 Daisy the Donkeys now, and it's just a small hint that continuity can sometimes be altered by the universe to make the status quo be maintained. Yeah. But that's a small thing. That's a cool what if, more so than what I think actually happened here. What I do think is a reading that you can interpret from this episode is that Tina does have the original Daisy the Donkey.
You think Anais?
And Anais has a new one. Yeah. Here's my theory.
That makes sense.
There's an episode. It's The Refund. Season 1. It's the boys waited over 7 months for their game. This is the next time we see Daisy, right?
Oh, okay.
So the next time we see Daisy, assumably, is at least 7 months later. And also, there are 11 episodes in between this one and that one. So I don't think it is at all unreasonable to think that there's just been a long lapse of time since this episode. And, you know, we see in our next episode that Nicole has a birthday.
Yeah.
So, this must be, you know, times going forward. People are having birthdays. Maybe for her next birthday, Anais just asks for another one.
Yeah.
Maybe she just gets a second one.
Yeah, I absolutely think she's...
I think that's incredibly easy to read into it. And so I have that personal headcanon to keep that from being a plot hole. Is that, yeah, there are just two. Yeah. We just, off camera, we don't see it, but she asks for another Daisy during her birthday.
Yeah, I think she's mature enough
to
be like,
or Christmas, because this episode, this is a bit of a trivia spoiler for the next episode, The Spoon, but in The Spoon, it's Nicole's birthday.
Yeah.
And later on in the show, we learn that her birthday is October 12th, which means that, assumably, if, you know, the things are lining up and that 7 months that the boys waited was after the events of, like, this episode, that would imply that there's a Christmas between giving away Daisy and us seeing the next Daisy. So again, maybe Daisy's a Christmas present. You know, maybe it's just a second Daisy. That seems totally reasonable to me.
I think that's absolutely a possibility, but regardless,
it's definitely not like shown.
No.
You know, this is purely headcanon. Mm-hmm. But it just makes sense to me, and it makes that like puzzle piece fit.
But anyway, let's move on to The Spoon, shall we?
The Spoon.
The Spoon? The Spoon is written by Ben Beausoleil, John Foster, Mick Graves, and James Lamont. Again, this very similar names that we will see, and we'll see for pretty much the rest of the show. Storyboarded by Ben Marsad.
Ben Marsad.
Mm-hmm, who has contributed to this a few times.
Contributed to this show quite a bit. I think he's still around in season 6. This episode starts with Nicole's birthday, and I have this noted. This is another thing I'm going to keep an eye on from now on. Mm-hmm. This is the first birthday in the series.
Yeah, I guess it is.
And there are at least a couple of them, so I'm going to keep a track of those. This is the first time we've had a birthday.
Mm-hmm. And I love the episodes that start like after school hours or like at night.
I do like
ones
that start with the family at home during off hours. Because you get to see the characters at rest, and that's very cute.
Yeah, this is like
that's one of my favorite things about like Slice of Life, and which in episode 0 I kept calling Slice to Life.
Slice to Life.
I'm sorry if I do that, guys. I'm autistic. I'm dyslexic. Slice to Life.
Slice of Life.
Yes, Slice of Life.
Yeah.
I really like that, and like cartoons and stuff like this, because I love characters at rest, and we don't get to see that in a lot of media.
Yeah.
But I think TV shows, by virtue of the fact that there's so many episodes and so much dead air to fill, allow you to witness a character's every day and their like downtime and their rest. And we don't usually engage with that in media, and I really like that. Yeah,
this show overall has a very good balance of balancing the school episodes, the home episodes. You know, I never feel like there's any particular point where we get like too many or anything like that.
Guys, it's hot. Global warming is real.
It's very warm in here.
It's fucking April, and it was 80 degrees today.
84.
84. That shit's scary, guys. This is your daily reminder that global warming is very much real, and we are killing the planet, and we need to do literally whatever it takes, regardless of tactic, to stop that from happening. Just a friendly little reminder. We are, in fact, leftists.
Uh-huh. But, so yeah, it opens up with Richard hanging out with the kids at home because Nicole was at work and presumably on her way. And he's like, all right, it's your mom's birthday. Did you guys get her presents?
And they raise all their presents up. I want to know what everyone got Nicole.
Yeah.
I'm super curious about that.
What did Darwin get her?
Yeah. But,
yeah, and they're like, Dad, what did you get?
Richard doesn't get anything. And then we get our first wild animation of this episode.
It's just intense.
This episode is very, very distinct in the animation that it does. This episode, definitely, there's someone on this team at Boulder Media who was like kind of effectively in charge of this episode's animation. And I want to know who it is, because they had a very weird influence on this episode's animation that just does not translate to any other episode.
Yeah, it's very
very unique. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all. It's just very different
from this show. It's a little bit more grotesque You know,
yeah,
his eyes
it's definitely
are
gross
unsided.
out humor. It's a little like SpongeBob-y.
Yeah, it's a little
in that way.
SpongeBob-y, a little
It's definitely
like Ren and
like
Stimpy.
you said, Ren and Stimpy is definitely like Tip said. It's kind of influenced by Japanese animation a lot too.
Yeah. But yeah, he does this weird ass face, and he does it a couple times, and it's very. He starts pulling out his ears. It's very Ren and Stimpy.
It is
very
so disconnected from everything this show has ever done before and after this, and it's very weird, but in a very good way.
Yeah,
I very much enjoy that this episode is just like uniquely weird in this way.
Yeah, the style is a lot more surreal, even with the plotting of the show and everything.
Like honestly, this episode is almost like an alternate style episode.
Honestly,
in
really
some ways,
this is what the show could have been.
Different.
Yeah,
it just feels like alternate reality.
But yeah, Richard's like, nothing.
And he realizes how bad that is in screams.
Which I don't think he would do later on.
But yeah, the animation is very way off model, which is in that very loose, intangible way, similar to what we do later. Yeah. Just looks different.
Yeah,
but
they
the same
do a
general
lot of off-model
concept.
stuff, but this time it doesn't fit.
The characters
with what they
go
do.
off-model very intentionally later on to do jokes, which is great. And it feels like they're starting to do that here, but it's just like prototypical. Yeah. It's not the same thing, but it's definitely got the DNA
it's
in
not
it.
Their
It's
style.
the roots.
But yeah, I love Anaisa's face, because she's just kind of looks so over it. And then, Richard's like, oh, well, I have to babysit the kids, so I can't go get anything.
I do want to say...
Yeah, go ahead.
I do want to say, I love every time Richard interacts with the kids alone. He's such a good parent. He's so positive. He's who I wish my fucking dad was.
Yeah.
I would be such a more, less traumatic person if my dad was a Richard.
Even if he sent you to the grocery store at 8 p.m.?
That would have been a fun experience. Until I realized that the spoon was actually a gun. And then I would realize that I repressed my trauma. That's my theory for this episode. That it's a spoon because this is Gumball's repressed memory of the event. This is repressed
trauma.
Yeah, he can't bring himself to realize that he experienced being at the barrel of a gun at this age. So his mind changed it to a rusty spoon.
Yeah, I do love that. But yeah, he's like, here's $20. Go to the gas station, which is apparently downtown, and go find something. And they're like, yeah!
Again, I guess they can walk to the gas station. And hey, Anais facepalm number 2. I got him listing. I'm listing him. This is number 2. Also, I have the exact line here. It's so funny. Someone suggests, well, why don't you go get her a present? And Richard says, I can't. I have to watch the kids.
Yeah.
But then he's like, but you guys don't have to watch the kids.
Yeah.
So funny. I love
great.
Richard. He's such sitcom dad dumb, but in his own unique way.
Yeah.
That does not feel like a Homer joke or a Peter joke. That feels like a Richard joke.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. I love him. He's so cute.
Yeah, Richard's great, and I just love when we get to explore him even more later
These
on.
two are so excited to go to the gas station.
Yeah, they're very
I
excited.
would have been this excited at their age.
Yeah, they're just walk to the gas station. And we cut to the gas station when we see Larry.
We see Larry, and behind him, I love this lazy, default-looking pose for Sal on his wanted poster. And I love his sharp teeth. I love that he has sharp, evil teeth.
He does,
It's so goddamn funny.
Yeah, but Larry's like, welcome to the gas station.
Also, he has a $25 reward on his head. It's not even that big of a bounty.
No, there's not a lot of crime in Elmore.
Yeah, Sal's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah, but we are kind of introduced to Larry for genuinely the first time. He's more of a presence here than he was in
He's more of a presence than he is in the DVD. And, the DVD, he's really not important,
Yeah,
he's not the antagonist of that episode, Laser Video or whatever it is.
But he is voiced by Carrie Shale for the show. This is his voice actor.
For the whole show.
Yeah.
He does not change.
And also...
Which is great, because how could Larry sound any different than this?
I do
honestly,
love Larry's voice.
Voice direction in this show is just phenomenal.
And,
no character sounds like not themselves.
I know. Everyone is very distinct. Everyone has their own unique voice.
Honestly.
No one ever sounds the same.
I cannot give the show enough props for that shit. It's genuinely very good.
Carrie Shale also voiced Sal Leftham.
Who?
Sal Leftham.
Oh. Shit, that's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of overlapping with him talking to himself.
This is a pretty brief thing, too, while Larry's on screen here. One of the wrappers in the chewing gum display looks like Choward's Mints, which is a real-life brand. And I do not bring this up as any sort of sponsorship thing, but rather as a connection to my past, because it's this one over here, I'll tell you, since you can see.
That green one.
So, yeah, the green wrapper under the chewing gum label, when Larry is in, like, the center of the screen when he's first introduced into this episode, that label looks like Choward's Mints, if you want to look it up, listener, if you're interested. And I just, I was very happy about that reference, if it is a reference, because I love Choward's Mints. They're very, like, weird thing. Most people, I think, don't know about them, but I used to work at a candy store. It was probably my best job I've ever had. It was a local mom and pop shop, and we sold a lot of, like, old candies, like old styled candies. Choward's were one of them, and I'd never heard of them before, but I tried. They had violet flavored mints.
Ooh.
Like the actual flower.
What was that like?
I've never had the chance to try floral foods, but that fascinates me. So I got them. They're so fucking good. They taste the way my intrusive thoughts think soap's gonna taste like.
Yeah.
It's so good in a floral way that reminds me a lot of, like, the soaps and stuff we put on our body.
Yeah.
But in, like, an edible, tasty way. I love it.
Makes me want more candy.
Yeah, but I've never had them since, really. But I love them, and it was a nice little reference, nice little aside. I wanted to give you a very personal take on that.
And I love all the choco bars and just, like, kind of other various knickknacks and junk foods and stuff like that. But yeah, Larry's all nervous.
These two run in and say,
they say, "Hi, mister."
Hi, mister, which implies, I guess at this point,
they don't know him well enough yet.
They're only acquaintances with Larry. They don't even know his name yet, which is weird.
Yeah.
Because later on, they're definitely like, "Hey, Larry."
Yeah.
I guess maybe that changes after the Lazy Larry episode.
Yeah. But yeah, they don't. I noted that too, and I thought it was interesting.
Also, Ocho's on a cover of a magazine.
Yeah, I see that now.
He's got a little crown on his head or something.
Cute.
It's so weird. I don't know what that is, but I love it.
There's a hot dog and, I don't know, some purple thing.
Purple thing that looks like Squidbillies.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Might be a reference to that. It kind of looks like it.
But, yeah, so Sal Left Thumb enters the picture.
And he's like, give me all the cash.
Give me all the cash. And he pulls out the rusty spoon.
Yeah, so...
Let's talk about the spoon.
The spoon. This is where I figured we were going to pause. I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah,
I have a lot
have
of
thoughts
notes.
about the spoon.
Why is it a spoon? They are obviously... Spoon. Yeah, the fact that it is rusty is very funny. It is rusty and well used and, like, torn up and beat up. It's like a fucking spoon from World War II.
It's an old ass spoon.
It's an old spoon.
It's all beat up, yeah.
It's very funny, but, like, obviously based on the framing. By the way, since we're paused on the close up to the spoon, I'd just like to say, Sal's fingers and his hands are masterclass.
Yeah.
It has so much depth and, like, realism to it, despite the fact that it's all black.
Yeah,
and
he's
it
just
is
got,
just
like, real
silhouette.
hands. Yeah.
It looks phenomenal. Genuinely.
It looks really good.
But, obviously, the way they are setting this up, this is obviously some sort of dangerous weapon.
Yeah.
Right? So you've got to wonder, like, subtextually, what is it actually?
He's just got a straight-up gun.
I cannot think of this thing in the context of the show, diuretically. I cannot see how this spoon is anything other than, like, a knife or a gun.
It's gotta be.
In the subtext.
Yeah.
By virtue of the fact that people respond. Like, Larry faints when he sees it.
Yeah, but, well, I guess we'll get to it, but Donut Cop doesn't really see it that way.
I see it as, like, this feels like a critique of policy at Cartoon Network that they're not allowed to show, like, real weapons or something.
Interesting.
Like, what time was this? This would have been 2011, so it's contemporary to, like, Adventure Time starting to hit some, like, more bit of its bigger notes, like the Lich is getting real busy and stuff. Maybe there was some controversy around the time about, like, Finn using real swords and cutting people up. Or maybe, I don't think Steven Universe has started yet. Okay. I think that's 2012. But if it came out, you know, all the main, like, the gems all have fucking weapons they use, like, real-ass military weapons. So maybe there was some sort of, like, concerned parent trope at the time, that like there was a big anti-weaponry in TV shows kind of thing. But,
it's just weird. Why it's I don't know. It just feels very cartoony. It's just very tropey. Like a lot of cartoons do this.
I did ask that, like, in universe, what is this spoon? Like diegetically, right? Like I said earlier, are spoons this dangerous in the world of Elmore?
A rusty spoon is a really bad sign.
Do they have less gun violence in Elmore because they have a higher rate of spoon-based violence?
Yeah.
Like, spoons are easier to access than guns, so that's what you hold up fucking banks.
You don't want to get hit with this rusty spoon. You could probably get an infection.
Yeah. It's just so funny that, like, it's that dangerous that you go into fight or flight when you see this spoon.
Yeah, this freaking spoon. But yeah, it does work, and Larry freaks out. He
also,
like you said.
As we're looking at Larry, behind him, there's two references that I haven't pointed out yet. First off, there's Mr. Small's modern dance classes. He's teaching classes on modern dance. It's that yellow and black poster behind where Larry's standing.
Oh, that's cute.
And then right beside it is the senior talent show poster. Yeah.
That's great.
They're both behind him. When you get like a zoom in of his face, look to the left of his head. Oh, it's later.
Oh.
When Sal's rifling through the register, we can see it.
Okay, well.
I'll try and remember.
That's fine. Anyway, so yeah, I love the security cam footage of Sal dragging Larry out from the counter.
Yeah, I love that they use like the security camera in this episode. That's pretty cool. They don't usually do that in this show.
But yeah, Gumball and Darwin are in the store and they're looking for something cool.
I absolutely love their gift to Nicole.
Yeah, what is this card thing?
It's not something she would like. It's something they would like. It's this, like, woman, and I love this. This is part of the Gumball that I love. They think that this woman is so cool.
Yeah.
It's not about how, that's a woman, and, like, we're boys or whatever. No, it's just, like, hell yeah. This is a cool girl that, like, gets into a barbarian outfit when you move the holographic.
Yeah, she's got a little parasol, and then she's got, like, a hand axe, and it's so very,
funny.
like, there was no information about that, which
I don't understand what that is, but it's
Where did they come from?
Yeah,
like,
it's so great. And also, if I was Nicole and my sons got me this, I would genuinely love it. Because I would be like, I would never be able to forget the excitement on their face when they showed me how cool they thought this thing was. I would love it very dearly.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they love it, so they're gonna go try to check out, and then of course they run into Sal, and he's going through the cash register. There's also a lost dog.
There's a lost dog behind him. There's Mr. Small's modern dance classes and the poster for the Elmore Senior Talent Show.
That's
all
great.
Behind where Larry sits when he works, and Sal rifles through the register.
That's awesome. I love that. The Senior Talent Show. Yeah, look at Mr. Robinson's face on. I love that they reused that.
I do love that they reused it. I gotta say, this is a return of the trope that I didn't like from the dress.
Yeah.
This, I actually looked up what the TV tropes.
Oh, yes, please
definition.
tell me. You mentioned that.
It is called the line of sight name trope, if you want to look it up on TV tropes. That is the, I guess, like, TV tropes official term for this trope. Line of sight name. And this is a better use of it, in my opinion. I really like that Sal sees something and kind of does actually think of something clever. It's not like, that's what I don't like about it. Is I don't like when it's, you see something and say what it literally is. This is clever because Sal actually is like a quick thinker and sees like a dozen eggs and says, bald people.
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't go like egg people or whatever.
And it's like he's creative about what he's seeing, and he does it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Also, I love his neutral face when he doesn't understand what these two are doing. It's so
three little fangs.
He's just got three little teeth sticking out, and his eyes are wide. It is so goddamn funny.
He's very expressive.
He looks so much like a thumb in this pose, which is so good. I love that
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that. He's just a straight up thumbprint.
That's great. So funny. And so of the show. And I love it. That is why I love Sal.
Yeah.
What other show would the criminal be depicted as literally just a fucking thumbprint?
Yeah.
I love how literal the characters can be sometimes like that.
Yeah,
Like
he's just
any possible animal or shape or like object or just like concept can be a living, breathing character in this world, and I love that.
Yeah,
I love that level of creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. It only gets better as we go along.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he convinces them to go look through the store, go find me stuff that I can donate to bald people.
I love how interested they are in charity in this episode.
Yeah,
These two are so excited to do
help.
good.
Yeah.
And we get another use of the security camera footage. It does recur a couple times, and I think it's well established in this episode.
And like, this is a big gas station.
Yeah, this is a little weird how this is supposed to be a gas station, but everything
it's like a grocery store.
Yeah, it's like a Walmart in here.
Yeah.
Also, there's rainbow glasses.
Yeah, I did have a note about all the different kinds of glasses. I love the ladder shades, the 3D glasses, the Pride glasses.
And actually straight up just like Pride glasses.
Those look like Pride glasses.
I mean, they're not literally the flag, I don't think. But,
no, but they're rainbow.
They're rainbow, so you know it counts.
It's basically the same damn thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like, what would bald people like? Glasses, and they take some sunglasses.
Oh, and I love, they're like, we would never joke about bald people.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, why are they so concerned about the plight of bald people? And I was like, oh shit, is this how they pick up on the fact that Richard is sensitive about his baldness?
That's what I was thinking.
They picked up on the fact that their dad is sensitive to that and now are very serious about how much being bald can affect someone's life, and they genuinely want to support bald people because their dad's bald, and they know he's sensitive about it.
Yeah, that's a great little head cannon.
I think it's so cute. It's obviously supposed to be like Lil XD so random.
Yeah,
but I choose to give it more of that.
No, give it more depth than that.
Also, I love how gender diverse the things they get excited for are.
They get excited
for mustaches, bikinis, makeup,
crowns.
These two boys are very gender nonconforming.
They're so queer.
They're very queer. And this is another example of it. They're both so comfortable with playing with their gender expression, and I love it. I mean, even Gumball wasn't really that uncomfortable with being in a dress in the dress.
Yeah, it didn't really bother him that he was in the dress. It was just kind of embarrassing.
He didn't want to be seen as a girl.
Yeah.
He is very comfortable in his gender identity, but he's not uncomfortable expressing some femininity.
Yeah.
As long as he's a feminine boy, he's happy.
Yeah.
And that's very cute. I love that. Gumball's a little twink.
Yeah, and I love that Darwin puts the bikini on his head. That's great. That's very cute.
Because his head and his body are the same thing.
Yeah.
So the bikini just kind of goes over the backside of his head. It's so funny.
Yeah, I love the little pose that they do with their lips. I'm like, that's a great thumbnail.
They do a kissy. They're so precious.
They're so queer. Look at them.
I know. This is not two macho boys.
No, they're very happy just being themselves.
Also, there's a Gendy wig.
Yeah, there is a Gendy wig that they briefly look at.
And how the fuck is this all available at the gas station?
Yeah, there's so much shit here. You can buy a dress and makeup and stuff.
And bikinis, I guess. Bikinis in October.
Yeah. These probably aren't very good bikinis. They're probably very cheap, too.
No, yeah. But I do like they're establishing Donut Cop's about to come into the scene. And later on, Gumball's going to toss a donut and distract Donut Cop with it. It's actually in the display.
Is it? Yeah.
Already. As soon as we see the display, it is, in fact, there. It's not, empty or anything.
That's a nice little detail. I'm glad that's, consistent. Yeah, I see it there, yeah. That's nice.
And there's a very quick gag as soon as Donut Cop runs in. He tosses a burrito in his, donut hole. And then he's like, that's strange. That's the third burrito, and I'm still hungry.
I'm still hungry.
I'm still hungry. And that is so dumb, but so funny. Because you could just see the burrito, like, fall limply to the ground behind him. And then he just wasted that food. It's so fucking funny.
I do love Donut Cop.
Donut Cop is so good. I love my Chief Wiggum.
He's voiced by Louis Macklin for season 1, who is the voice actor who will leave after the season.
He's not as good as season 2 and beyond.
As good as his next season voice.
Can't wait for his next.
But
voice.
His similarity to like Chief Wiggum is very evident.
He's
just
like
a very cop stereotype.
DNA.
Yeah. It's just very much the cop stereotype. He loves donuts. He's just like incompetent.
Yeah,
and
you know what?
It's fucking funny every time.
I know. I love how ACAB the show gets later on. It is so funny. I will never forget when he tased Mr. Small
in the
and he was like, "I tried to give you an out, buddy." I couldn't believe they did that show.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, this show. He's the most incompetent person in this show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I will say, these boys go to distract him, so they put on a disguise. And they dress as, like, workers here. And they keep their mustaches. But I thought it would have been really cute if they kept their makeup, too.
Yeah.
That would have been so sweet.
Yeah.
But,
they tried to offer him hot dogs so that'll get him out of the gas station. Because Sal was like, get him out.
Yeah, but Gumball's mustache falls onto it. And he's like, wow, there's some mustache on my hot dog.
He's like, I want one with a little less hair.
And they're like, sorry, that's our specialty. And then it works somehow.
Yeah. And then he's like, what about these marshmallow heart stoppers? Which I love the little cereal there.
Yeah, he's like, no, not enough sugar.
Yeah, you see Larry in the back.
Yeah, you see Larry's like being held hostage, hidden
the tape
behind
on his
them.
mouth.
It's so
It's
good.
very
And despite the fact that he's got him taped, his mouth's still open.
Yeah.
You can still see his worried mouth, but it still works to keep him silent. I love that.
Yeah, and then he finally sees the donut, and Gumball is like, oh, you want the donut?
It's another one of those weird cannibalism things where the donuts that you can eat are different than the donuts that walk around.
Donuts? Yeah, he's like, yeah!
He wants it so bad. That's so funny. Also, the display looks like Dunkin' Donuts.
It does.
It's got the
really
same
does.
like font and color scheme, so I'm assuming that's a reference.
But I do love that they like get him out with a donut. And he's gone for a while.
Yeah, like how far did he toss that thing? I have a note on that later. But so now that he's gone, Sal goes to try and interrogate Larry.
He's like,
rips
suckers.
Suckers. He rips the tape off of Larry's mouth and starts like torturing him. Being like, tell me what's the combination to the safe? Or like, where's the safe?
Where's the safe? He's like, I won't tell you.
He's like, I wonder how you'll feel if I do this. And he like breaks a fucking
he breaks a 25
sunglasses for 25 cents. And then
they'll take it out of my salary.
Larry works so hard.
He goes through more trauma than like almost.
I know, he's my hero.
He's like, they're gonna take it out of my
But
salary.
also, I wish our economy was this underinflated. Glasses are 25 cents.
Yeah, even in 2011.
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously too little money even back then. But still, it's like, I wish we lived in Elmore's economy because I wish glasses were 25 cents. And the other thing, he goes to break like a
snow globe.
Snow globe.
Yeah.
And I have it written here. This is so funny. Larry says that was $2.50 reduced to $3.95. It's reduced to a higher value, which is so. What a great like little capitalist dig.
Yeah, they even early on this show kind of starts setting those seeds.
And I love that
anti-capitalist sort of critique a little bit. Not as strongly as we will see, but it starts sowing those seeds real quick.
Yeah, and I like the transition they do to the boys here. Where Larry just screams like, no! And then we cut away. I like that. And the boys have found a giant tower of shampoo.
Jojoba.
And they're like, perfect for bald people.
Yeah.
Which I would like to note, bald people do in fact wash their head with shampoo. So that shampoo would actually be good for them.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Bald people do actually use shampoo.
Huh. That's cool. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so then there's the safe is underneath the pile of bottle of shampoo for whatever reason.
Yeah, for some reason it's just like hidden in a display, which is really weird. And like they knock them all down in a very cartoony fashion.
Yeah, they just kind of grab one and the whole thing falls, and boom, there's the safe. And it's just the Predator's appearance, so they start pressing random buttons on it.
Oh, let's try and open it. And they just, like, press random buttons. It's so cute.
Yeah, it's like...
Darwin just, like, guesses through, like... They guess it a single passcode at a time. Like, a single digit at a time. It's so cute.
Yeah.
And Darwin's like, 2, 7... 9, and they say, well, that's all the numbers I know.
It's very cute.
It's so cute. Darwin has a deficiency in math, and that's his worst subject.
Yeah, he tries a bunch of different numbers, and it doesn't work, unfortunately.
I thought it would be funny if it did. Just like straight up work. They just got it right. That's so funny.
But then we cut back to the Wanderson household, and we see Nicole enter the room, and she's probably coming home from work.
Yeah, she got home from the
what do you think Anais and Richard did for like an hour?
Yeah, what were they talking about? Like, they get along pretty well, right? Do you think they were watching Daisy? Right? Yeah, probably watching something.
They're like, keep an eye out for your mom.
Yeah, he was probably like, keep an eye out for your mom. And Anais is probably like, sure, Dad. And just sitting there because she knows it's like 2 hours before she even gets off of work.
Yeah.
So she knows there's like 0% chance she's going to get home yet.
But yeah, she comes in and Nicole is kind of immediately like, where are the boys?
She has such a funny face.
Yeah, it's a great little face she does when she's immediately like, what?
She turns to look around for the boys and her eyes kind of go half and her brow gets furrowed and she gets like her lip.
L. Yeah,
like her upper lip or bottom lip kind of rises up, and it's so funny looking.
Yeah, it's very good.
It is a great drawing.
Yeah, not something she does really very often.
Because she just kind of like dips into like ape mode for a second.
Yeah.
She's just like,
where's the boys?
Like primal SpongeBob.
But yeah, she's like, oh, I sent them to the gas station because I forgot to buy you a birthday present.
I love this is another thing I worded. It's just so funny. Richard's line is, so she gets angry at him, and he immediately asks, is it the birthday or sending 2 kids downtown at night on their own? Which is so cute. And it's like, Nicole is genuinely good for Richard. Mm-hmm. Because once she shows him that negative response, he immediately picks up on what he did wrong.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, I did do a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Like, she's genuinely very good for him. She keeps him in check.
Yeah.
And he gets it. He's like, alright, yeah, you're mad. That means I was probably in the wrong.
Yeah, he did not obviously do the right decision.
But I love that he immediately recognized it.
Yeah, he's self-aware.
And here's something I noted. Nicole screams like, put your pants on and get in the car. Earlier on, when we see the establishing shot where everyone's at home, including the boys, Richard had his pants on. So which means that after the boys left, he took his pants off. Yeah, I don't like that. He was only home with his infant daughter. I wish he would keep his pants on.
Yeah, Richard, that's
a bit of an L. That's another one of those just like weird, uncomfortable things that they do in the first season I don't really like. Like, I don't like these cartoon dads that are just like so fucking slovenly and like
that they just don't wear pants
in front of their kids.
Yeah,
it's weird and gross.
Yeah,
I'm glad we don't really see that much anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely like a little bit of a trope for sure. But yeah, we finally come back to the gas station and we see the vault again, and they're just like banging on it.
I love we see the security footage. Yeah. This time it's fast forwarded.
Yeah, they try very hard to open it.
And they have they have more of these very anime-esque animations. And I love all their struggles to try and open it, involving them eventually like ramming
with shopping carts
into it.
It's
which
pretty
is
good.
So funny because it's all sped up.
Yeah.
And they just boom, boom, and
but
it
definitely does not work. And so they're like, well, we're out of ideas. And it definitely feels like, okay, well, they've been written into a wall here.
Yeah.
Because then the security box is like, all you had to do was ask, please.
It just says all you had to do is ask, please.
Yeah, it's sentient for some reason.
Yeah, I have notes on this. The safe telling them to like ask nicely and that'll open.
Yeah.
And like it opens when they do.
It's very weird.
It's very, very of the times, because in 2011 there was such a focus on this like lol XD so random type of comedy, and that definitely feels like that's where this is coming from. This is like the Adventure Time DNA of Gumball coming out.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, even within the genre of lol XD so random, I don't like this execution of it.
Yeah, it's
this is
weird.
very, like, it feels like they just wrote themselves into a corner and didn't know how to get out of it.
Uh-huh.
And I don't really care for that.
Yeah, because they needed the boys to get the safe open somehow, so they were like,
yeah,
all right,
like,
well, how do we get the boys?
They don't write a show like this later on, do they?
No, absolutely not. But I do love their faces when the vault, or when the safe, like, opens up, and they're like, whoa!
There's sparkles in their eyes. They're kind of cute. They're very oblivious, very childlike in this episode.
Which is endearing, and it's quite precious. It's very indicative of where we are in the show.
It's precious in this episode. Like, sometimes it can be a little annoying when the boys are a little bit too childlike for my taste.
Yeah, but
this
they're
is
just
not
kids
one of
with
those.
imaginations.
This is one where they're just cute, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we see that the others have entered the store, and I love their
blank faces
the little dots.
as soon as they realize what's going on.
That's a very good little expression.
So goddamn funny. Genuinely, this is I think season 1's best episode animation,
just
like emotion wise. Yeah, like the faces they pull with these characters are so funny. And I love that they're shocked into silence, but Richard still feels the need to lock eyes with Larry and go, "Hey." It's so funny.
He's just like, oh, hey. And then Sal enters the picture, and they're like, and Richard freaks out about the spoon, and he does that face again. He does that.
Also, how far did they have to toss that donut such that this family didn't interact with Donut Cop on their way in?
Yeah, you think they
didn't even
noticed.
see him on their way in.
They just walked in, and he was out in the parking lot,
way beyond
trying to find like a soggy donut.
Yeah, he's trying to find a donut in the ditch. He's like, "Come on, I did the same show I'm going."
But yeah, so the spoon though doesn't work on Anais and Nicole.
But it does make Richard worried, which is so funny because he runs around screaming until he slams himself into the shelf and passes out.
Yeah,
which is very funny.
And then Sal ties everyone up, which I like. Nicole, like, why would she have let that happen?
Also, this is Anais facepalm number 3 with guest Nicole facepalm. When Richard runs into the thing and passes out.
That's great. I didn't notice that one.
Yep. But yeah, they get tied up. The whole family gets tied up. And I'm thinking to myself, like hell, Nicole's going to get tied up later on in the show.
Yeah, no.
Sal is definitely a lower tier character on the power scale than Nicole and would not be able to win later on.
No, she would definitely be able to
She'd be like,
you
are endangering my kids, and the ropes would burn up from anger.
Yeah, absolutely. She definitely... And I just understand... I don't understand why she just doesn't have any agency. She doesn't do. She's like, she Richard, do really something.
Get a whole lot of agency. In this
she's just like.
It's
Richard.
One of those things where the characters are a little too weak in this episode. Like, why do the family just not get any agency in this? That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know what she's expecting him to do. She knows how incompetent Richard is. Why is she like, Richard, do something? It's just very housewife, bad
and
housewife.
That's kind of where
scripting.
My notes were taking me to. I can't say I really enjoy how the tension climaxes in this episode.
Yeah.
I don't like this episode once Sal turns on them and demands the money.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't really enjoy this episode that much anymore.
It just becomes like this long sequence.
It's a long, and I think that I don't really like. That's a great Steam picture, by the way.
Yeah, that
when
was.
He's just got that default. I have a comment on that. But I don't know, the way that the characters don't have agency and the family's all very weak, and it's just, it takes too long. But I love this, where they're running away, and Sal's like, "You better give me that money!" Yeah. And they throw shit at him, and it doesn't hurt him because it's loaves of bread and soft stuff.
Yeah.
And until they throw frozen sausage at him, which is so good because it's so violent. It's so quick.
It whacks him.
It fucks his head up. And he makes a loud dong.
Yeah.
And it's so goddamn funny. I love that slaps. Like I said,
yeah,
this show is
good.
This show is honestly the first time I've ever truly enjoyed slapstick. Mm-hmm. It does it so well.
Yeah,
because it's got punchy Gen X timing with its slapstick.
Mm-hmm. And I love when we cut to the security cameras, we see how flat Sal is. It's just very funny.
Yeah, I love that he is as flat as a thumbprint would be. I love that. That's something I love about the show, is that Gumball and Darwin are flat because, they're 2D characters, but they aren't flat.
Yeah.
This is a flat representation of a 2D or a 3D character. But Sal is a 2D character. And I love that. This is one of those things that I get so inspired by with this show. Is that characters truly can be anything. And even like a third dimension is not assumed for a character. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so cool how
speaks to the creativity.
Everyone's so unique.
Everyone is so unique. Everyone has a different way that they move and live and interact with the world, and it's just so endearing when we get to see explored so much more later on.
And I will say, this, I know Tip liked this, but for me, the Home Alone MacGyver-esque
the way they kind of Rube Goldberg out of this.
I don't like it. I do not like it. This isn't. I feel like this is not a character for these two.
Yeah,
I don't think
really
these two would. I don't think these two really have this type of competency later on. Mm-hmm. I don't trust that they could do this to get out of their situation. Later on in the show, it just doesn't kind of feel right to me.
Because they like maneuver with like a tire in the bikini, and they hit him with the tire, and
it works like a powerful catapult.
Yeah.
I don't care for it. But we do cut back to the family being tied up, and I love Nicole and Richard can understand each other while muffled.
Yeah, and so she's like, Richard, do something, which again, I don't know why she expects him to do anything. Why isn't she just like, do
don't worry, I got this. And he sucks so hard that he inverts...
Yeah, it's weird.
He inverts the tape and gets it onto his tongue, and he does the blank-eyed stare again as he's like, ha ha! And then he eats it. He eats the tape, and then he gets determination in his face and wiggles across the floor like a worm and hits the hot dog with the mustache on it. And he starts licking it. I love his face here. Because, of course, he's being a glutton, and I love that they just made him be a glutton and everything. But I love that they did it in a weird way, where, like, he wants to savor this hot dog by, like, reserving himself and just gently licking it first so that he can, like, savor the moment.
I feel
it's so weird and so funny.
I do love it. I do love Richard. And so the boys then try this thing with like syrup, I think it is. They like put syrup on the floor so they'll slow him down. But Gumball traps himself inside because Darwin puts a pile in front of him.
And I love Gumball. It's just precious. Why would you do that? Yeah. And he's got a point. Darwin, you should have thought about that, bud.
Yeah, and that's kind of a Darwin L.
Yeah, that's Darwin being too oblivious.
But yeah, then the stickiness kind of works and everyone bends over and Sal's got a fat ass, and there's the phone again.
I put this on Do Not Disturb. I don't know why it made a noise. I apologize.
Nah, I don't.
I think it's because it's bedtime.
Oh, yeah.
It went to silent mode.
Gotcha. But anyway, yeah, so eventually, though, Gumball gets out of the syrup, and I thought maybe this would be it, the ending here, when they, glue him down, but he doesn't stay glued down. He actually just gets angrier.
And Richard is licking the hot dog still, and I love Nicole looks at him with this mix of disgust and anger, and she kind of has to take a moment to ground herself before she works, because she's, starting to get worked up, but she grounds herself and is like, do I have to do everything? And pours ice cream onto her
some ice cream on her back onto the robe.
Scoots up on Richard, and he has this great face as he very animalistically sniffs out the food.
Ice cream!
And bites off her robe.
He bit into her arms.
Yeah, he could have bitten her hands off.
Oh my god.
He's got to have a jaw more powerful than a hippo, right?
But so yeah, the boys find a helium tank for whatever reason that they sell at this gas station.
Yeah, this is kind of where I'm they don't have this competency to gizmo up
this is a
rocket.
This is the show. It's absolute cartoony.
Yeah,
they just come up with this rocket that propels them. It's
okay, it definitely fits a season 1 vibe, but I don't like it in context of the whole show. In the context of just season 1, it's good.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it's compared to the rest of the show. This is not where this show is at its greatest.
No, absolutely not.
Though they do go for more speed, and I do love the animation. I love that they do this faster than light travel thing where light just begins to stretch. And, they get very exaggerated. Their faces whoa. I love it. I think it's great.
It's pretty cute. And despite that they're on a rocket, Sal manages to keep up with them.
This part where they're on the rocket and they're like kind of skittering off the ground looks very Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, absolutely. Their faces are all just kind of distorted, and it just looks very of that
here's
era.
something. I think it's very interesting that this episode takes place almost exclusively within a gas station.
Yeah.
Like, I think later seasons, the kind of stuff that I associate with Gumball, like the stuff that I immediately think of, usually we can't be guaranteed to stay in one place for a long time.
Yeah.
Usually, like, we'll start in one place and we'll end up
somewhere very
far
different.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll end up somewhere very different. And it's interesting that this show has been on, like, both sides of that extreme, where this is in an episode that takes place, again, nearly almost exclusively in one locale, versus later on we'll do it where they can just jump to wherever they need to go. And that's really cool. That's really interesting. And I do find a certain charm and whimsy to this, like, this idea that because this is a gas station episode, the gas station is as large as the scenes require it to be. So it is large enough to ride a rocket through because we can't leave the gas station. So it must by necessity be long enough to do all our gags. And the same thing with like the helium and shit. Is it must by necessity have helium for a rocket within the gas station because we decided upon that gag and put it in the gas station.
I guess that's just like the storyboarding before the
this is storyboarding.
It's not pre-planning, it's not like planning
I
things
like.
out.
It's
fine.
It's fun.
It works, but it works much, much better later when it's thought out ahead more.
Yeah, and I think this is very cartoony, but this is also more grounded.
Yeah, but so the boys, they go beep, 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 through the sky with the rocket. Sal's kind of knocked out, and eventually they kind of crash into just like a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah, and I did want to say, I noted this in here. Whoever's responsible for these wild-ass, like, facial expressions and stuff in this episode, I want you to know, if you're listening, I have a deep respect for your work. I love the way this episode looks. It's so unique, and I'm so glad that there's just one episode that looks like this. It's such a cool little part of, like, the early Gumball.
Yeah, it's definitely very unique, and it looks great. It's just very
There is
different.
not another episode of this show that is quite like the Spoon.
Yeah.
And, in that way, it's very unique and it becomes very valuable.
Yeah, and it's great in that regard. But eventually, Sal catches up to them, and then
they crash
put,
into the wall.
A hot dog into like a...
This is a second hot dog with a mustache.
Yeah.
There's two of them now, which makes me think maybe that is actually a specialty of this gas station. And Gumball just happened to get it right.
But yeah, that hot dog must be going real fast.
Yeah, they shot
like
it.
A paint
they
can.
shot it out of a helium, out of the helium rocket. And it shot with, like, the power of, like, a crossbow bolt.
Yeah.
This could have shattered Sal's fucking skull and splatted his brains across the whole aisle and killed him.
It went through that can of paint, or, like, that plastic bucket or whatever.
And I thought it's very funny because on the internet, you can find videos of people, like, launching shit out of potato cannons and stuff. And I've seen people launch a frozen banana out of one. So it's, a very similar kind of idea to the hot dog. And it's so funny. Because if you watch it in slow-mo, it goes flying, like, faster than a speeding car. But it almost immediately starts falling out of the shape you expect it to be. Like, you expect it to go long ways, like an arrow, right?
Yeah.
But it'll start going short ways, and it'll just kind of, like, instead of staying in that same plane going like this, it'll kind of bend and move. Oh. And as soon as it hits something, it splatters like a paint balloon. And it's so funny. Because that's what would happen in reality with this thing. But it is as deadly as like a steel bolt in this world.
It really is. It's just boom right into this can. And he's like, "Ha! You missed, suckers," or whatever. And they're like, give us the money. And then he's like, Darwin's like, no! And they were this little back and forth.
They refuse to the point where he pulls out the spoon. And they're like, he's got a spoon!
Yeah, and
such violence! And he's like fainting. Which again, this makes me think that the spoon is subtextually a critique of some sort of policy where they weren't allowed to show weapons or something. Like, it's gotta be, right?
Yeah,
because that
sense.
seems like such a obvious critique of something. Like, it seems like they were definitely making fun of someone that they worked with, like some higher up or something.
Yeah, it's like, they weren't allowed to have
it's
like
a weapon. We can't show kids weapons because they can't handle it. It seems like they're kind of maybe poking fun of something.
Maybe they wouldn't
like
let
that.
them have like a baseball bat or something.
Yeah, maybe that's it. That's
so
funny
like,
though.
It's too violent. I'm like, all right, well then how about a freaking spoon? They're like, okay, sure.
And despite the fact that I don't think there's a whole lot of subtext to this episode, and that kind of sucks. I like when the show's got like subtext and meaning, and this conflict just kind of seems pointless.
Yeah,
like these people don't really grow or change or learn anything by going through this. I do like the subtext of this possibly being some sort of like critique of their ability to use weapons or whatever. But it does feel like they didn't really have a message to send with this episode.
Yeah, it just kind of exists.
It's okay. Like, it doesn't have to have a message.
Yeah.
But I definitely prefer the show when it does have something to say.
Yeah, when it has a voice. This doesn't really have a voice, necessarily. This is just kind of cartoony antics.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of just felt like this was all about conflict and not about, like, subtext.
Yeah.
Not about what we're trying to say. And I appreciate when the show does that.
Yeah, but Nicole takes him out with the hot dog, I guess.
Yeah, so what's up with the hot dogs being so, like, deadly in this
They
episode?
say maybe she picked up his gun.
It must be frozen or something. She hits him right in the head, and it
sounds
I'm
like a
sure
pipe.
it thuds him.
It's like, ding! Yeah.
That would give him brain damage.
And then Donut Cop comes back, and he's like, I forgot to pay for the donut or whatever.
And he sees, like, two boys passed out in, like, a big pile of stuff, like he's in a fight.
Yeah, Larry's all taped up.
Nicole's holding
the bag of money,
and she's got a weapon. And so Donut Cop's like, freeze your arrest!
Even though Larry would immediately be like, it wasn't her.
Yeah.
It was the fingerprint man.
It was the fingerprint.
Because, she's like, it was the fingerprint.
And he's gone. I love that
he leaves a fingerprint.
I love that, one, he leaves a fingerprint, which is so funny. But two, I love that he is like, because his character trait is criminal, and that's kind of like his field of expertise, he wins this interaction, and like is able to get away even though he really shouldn't have been able to.
Yeah.
Of course he could slither away because he's the criminal. Yeah. That's what criminals do.
Yeah, he doesn't get caught. Well, yet at least.
Not yet, yeah.
But he does win this interaction. But Nicole just gets straight up arrested.
Nicole straight up goes to jail on her birthday.
But she is very happy later, though.
Yeah, the family comes and sings her happy birthday, and she's very pleased with it.
She's very happy about it.
I do love that we get to see this moment where she's like, yeah, I was angry with my family. Yeah, I was frustrated with my husband. But we're celebrating my birthday, and they still love them. They still mean a lot to me.
Yeah, and they got
should we kind of get to see that in her face, which is sweet. I love that we do still address the fact that it was her birthday. And but Donut Cop brings Sal in.
He catches him. He's like, "It was trying to rob a store
with a spoon! A spoon!" Which, again, yet another line I think holds some subtextual meaning.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Donut Cop is like taking the place of our writers. The writers are like, ha ha, look how stupid it is.
Like,
he had a spoon.
Wow,
how stupid is that? When in actuality, what they wanted it to be was probably something more like a bat. Yeah. Or some sort of actual weapon.
Yeah, but that's how it resolves. And he's like, all right, lady, wait 5 minutes and I'll get you out.
His walk cycles are a little weird here.
He just kind of
he kind of looks a little like cheaply his cycle feels a little cheap. But I like it. It's funny.
5 minutes is all I need. And
she's going to assault him.
This man
we
up.
end this episode with her assaulting a man whose hands are tied behind his back. It is not a fair fight.
And so she does have the capacity for violence here, but not.
I do love she gets the agency on that. She gets the last win, which is nice because she's been handed out L's all episode.
Yeah, she gets.
So I like
that
she gets the final win.
He's gonna come back and be like, "What happened, lady?"
Yeah, there's gonna be whatever Sal's equivalent of blood is.
Yeah, I hope it is just blood if he's a fingerprint. He just bleeds like normal.
He bleeds like when they test your blood at the fucking blood donation place.
But that's it.
That's it. That's the end.
Whew. We made it. 2 hours and 50-some minutes later.
Sorry, guys. It's a long one.
These are just becoming long.
Yeah, I don't know if these are going to continue to be long, because this is a little long for my taste, like recording it. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's okay. We have a couple episodes that are longer than they should be, and we learn our lesson from that and find a better time, like find a better length to these episodes later on. That's okay. I'm not upset with that.
Yeah.
You know, we talked for as long as we needed to get all our thoughts out there, and there's some value in that. Maybe we can stand to be a little bit better about, like, limiting what we say.
Yeah.
So that we can just talk about the interesting stuff. But, you know, we got
it's a
to have our
meandering
space.
journey, you know?
Yeah.
I'm happy that we have gone on this long.
I do have a little bit of trivia if you just want to get that out.
Sure.
One of the wig brands in the gas station is Gendy. Again, another reference to either George Gendy or Michael Gendy, probably both of them. Mm-hmm. They're brothers, I think, and they work on the show.
Yeah.
They do songs and storyboarding and stuff. So it's just another reference to them. This was the last episode of the show to premiere with another new episode, since this is like a 2 11-minute episode block. This is the last episode of the show to premiere with another new episode in the United States until season 2's episode 15. That's The Flower.
Weird.
So yeah, for a while now, like from now until The Flower, these episodes are coming out new. Like one episode at a time instead of like 2 episodes making up one big block at a time. It's weird. Only 1 episode at a time now. It's very strange, because I guess that means that like the next episode they only had 6 episodes to fall back on to rerun with the next new episode.
Yeah, or did they play a different show?
I don't know. I mean, they might have done that.
Yeah.
But it's strange. A little bit of a weird one. This is the show's first fourth wall break, which I'm not sure if I should keep track of those or not. Mm-hmm. But this is the first time the show breaks the fourth wall, because Gumball and Darwin wink at the camera while tricking Donut Cop about the hot dog.
They do.
They go, "Don't worry, that's our specialty."
Oh.
And they wink directly at us.
Uh-huh.
And according to Season 6, Episode 38, The Web, Nicole's birthday is on October 12th, meaning this episode takes place on that specific date. This episode takes place in October.
Oh, what a crisp October evening.
Yep, see? This takes place in October. Then we cut to an episode a little bit later on where the boys are complaining about 7 months later they get their game. So a Christmas has passed. I think this is, after this episode is when Anais gets her new
when
Daisy.
When she gets her new Daisy.
Her new Daisy toy.
She was like, yeah, sorry, I gave it to someone who really needed it.
You know what? Nicole would be very proud of her.
Yeah, I think they both would.
And, they would be. They would gladly get her another one. Be like, hey, you did a good thing. We're going to get you a new one.
But that's it, guys. We want to wrap up because we're pushing 3 hours now. So.
Yeah, it's past my bedtime.
It's past our bedtime.
It's past our co-host Peanut's bedtime.
Yeah, it's past her bedtime. She's still
getting
in here
cranky.
looking around.
That's why she's disturbing us so much.
You know the routine. Follow us on Twitter @TalPod. Next week.
Yeah, you know it at this point. @TalPod. Shout out to the people who saw our contribution to the banner at the protest at the Pit. If you're here, if you listen to it, shout out to you. You're awesome. Fuck Michael Knowles.
Fuck Michael Knowles.
Fuck the fascists. Fuck the transphobes. Fuck the police.
Yeah.
Yes to Gumball. No to
Gumball
all the
Watterson
bullshit.
says trans lives matter.
It's true. Mm-hmm. Gumball says trans lives matter.
And that's all.
I do truly feel like if I lived in Elmore, I would never once be misgendered. Not a person in this town would misgender me. Even the evil ones. Mrs. Robinson would still call me a she.